Grand rising loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. Listen, I am so sorry that we are starting late, guys. Okay. It is snowing out here in Delaware. It's not a whole lot right now, but I was pretty surprised. I had to go run and do something this morning, and I don't like driving in the snow. So it was absolutely crazy, but I do apologize for getting here late. Guys, we have a lot of fuckery to get into today. I am definitely with the shits today. I got a lot to talk about. We are definitely going to get into the conversation regarding Dr. Umar and what is going on with FDMG school. Also, we are going to be talking about the conversation that Derell had, shout out to the Godfather, with Emmy the other day in regards to the dungeons, okay? And we are going to compare what Emmy was talking about with what Breaking the Culture was talking about with us, okay? So we're definitely going to get into that. Also, Pillsbury, shout out to Pillsbury. He had a show last night that was funny. Now, there was some things that he said I didn't necessarily agree with because I like some of these people, but there was some things that he said that I 100% agree with, and I am going to get into all of that today. And we are also going to get a mindfulness moment in today, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with the show. Make sure that you guys are hitting the like button. Also, if you guys can see in the chat, there is a poll there, okay? I do want you guys to go ahead and start voting. You don't have to vote yet. You can kind of wait towards the end because as we go along and as we're having this conversation, we will be figuring out which one of these bitches, okay, got pimped out the most in this sector, okay, because it is absolutely crazy what's going on. And I can't really say that it happened per se with Breaking the Culture in the sector, but it definitely happened according to what Emmy was saying and what Breaking the Culture is saying in regards to these dungeons, okay? So we are going to figure out which one of these hoes, okay, have gotten pimped out the most, okay? And you guys definitely can figure that out. I did add Bugsy to the picture as well, okay? But he's not on the poll, but, of course, I just added him just for, for the kicks and giggles and shit. But either way, one of these hoes got pimped like a mug, okay? And we are going to figure out which one of these hoes got pimped out the most out here, okay? So listen, guys, I want you guys to sit back and relax, chill, okay? We are about to get into the show. Make sure that you guys grab your libations up, do whatever you got to do. And then, like I said, we are going to get right into this, guys, okay? But before I do, of course, I'm going to play for you guys our new timer. And then it's not our new timer, but our new intro. And then we're going to get right into it, guys, okay?
I rap in that Jeep, got that visa, now I eat. It's 2000 and something, why you hoes still broke? If you ain't got no money, take your broke ass home. My pocket's getting deep, but the work will never stop. Cause making money's easy, but keeping it is hard. Getting cheese is a habit, I chase it like a rabbit. If I see it, I'ma grab it, that's why I'm never lacking.
All right, guys. So what we're going to talk about today is self-care. Okay. So that is something that is very important. And we're definitely going to get into that this morning first. So we all know that self-care is very, very important. And it actually means taking the time to do things that help you live well and improve both your physical health as well as your mental health. So when it comes to your mental health, self-care can help you manage stress as well as lower your risk of illness and increase your energy as well. Even small acts of self-care in your daily life can have a huge impact on these things, okay? So we're going to go over a few things that will help you in self-care and help you along to help take care of yourself. So here are some of those tips. You want to exercise regularly, okay? So you want to get at least about 30 minutes of walking every day, and that can help boost your mood as well as improve your health. Little small amounts of exercise can actually add up. So you don't want to be discouraged by that, okay? Like, thinking that you got to do 30 minutes at one time. You can just simply, break that up. You can do stuff like flights of stairs. You can do a treadmill, those kinds of things. And before you know it, you've got about 30 minutes of walking in. You can even do stuff like park further from the store, park further from your door, those kinds of things, so that you're taking more steps per day. And I actually use my Fitbit to help me keep up with how many steps I'm taking per day. So that's something that you can do as well. Also, you want to try to eat healthy, regular meals, and also stay hydrated. You want a balanced diet with plenty of water, okay? And that can improve your energy as well as focus throughout the day. Also, you want to limit as much caffeine as you're having. So you don't want to drink so much coffee, soda. Soda is particularly not good, and other soft drinks as well, okay? You definitely want to make sleep a 100% priority, and you want to stick to your sleep schedule as much as you can, okay? Definitely make sure you're getting enough rest. That is very important to have that. At nighttime or when it starts to get dark, you want to get your devices to turn that blue light on, so that the screens can make it much easier for you to fall asleep. Because that blue light exposure so it helps reduce the blue light exposure to any TV or any computers before bedtime. That's actually overstimulating, and that's something you want to do too. Also, try any kind of relaxing activities like explore relaxation or wellness programs, or even apps on your phone that you can incorporate into your meditation, incorporate into muscle relaxation, some breathing exercises, and you can schedule regular times for these healthy activities, such as doing that through journaling. And I use my Fitbit to do those things as well, okay? There's a lot of little intricate parts in the Fitbit that, little intricate programs within the Fitbit that allow for stuff like that as well, okay? And they're timed. So it's really good to do those kinds of things. Also, setting goals and priorities. So you want to decide what must get done now and what can actually wait, right? You want to learn to say no to new tasks if you start to feel like you're taking on too much. You don't want to take on too many things. Always keep your plate as clean as possible, but as much work as you're able to do at one time. Try to be mindful of what you have accomplished by the end of the day, so that you know what you've already done, and also it keeps up with what you're really kind of unable to do, right? And what you may have to delegate out to somebody else. All right, so just some thoughts on that. Also, of course, practicing gratitude. You want to remind yourself daily of the things that you are, in fact, grateful for. You want to be specific about those things and write those things down at night. Replay those things in your mind. Say those things out loud in a mirror, something of that nature. Also, focus as much as you can on positivity. You want to identify and challenge any negativity as well as any unhelpful thoughts, right? And kind of sit those to the side and put those, where they are on that shelf, knowing where they are, and just focus on the things that are positive. Because there's always a silver lining in everything, no matter what. Finally, you want to stay connected and reach out to your friends or family members who can provide support and emotional support as well as practical help, okay? A lot of times we like to self-isolate, not involve ourselves with people, especially if we think we're inadequate or if we think we're not able to, kind of get, stay up to the task. If we feel like, there's something else mentally or something internally going on, we feel like others, may stay away from us per se or something like that. When in actuality, mental illness is not something that you see, right? It's not something you can see in somebody. It's something you kind of develop or figure out after being around that person for a period of time. So that is something to understand and to know. And if that is the case, you definitely want to stay connected to people, right? And making sure that you are reaching out to people and getting the proper help and the proper support that you need, okay? And that is some look at what self-care actually looks like. And again, like I said, that's not the end all tell all of everything, but I am not a therapist. Okay. So you definitely want to speak with your therapist and get proper information on what is good for you, what works for you, right? And what you can do as far as life skills for yourself. Okay. Shout out to the loungers. I appreciate everybody being in the building. Hold on one second, guys. All right, my bad. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. I truly appreciate everybody being in the building. Grand Rising Muslim, I appreciate you. You said good morning, T. Pre. You are looking very pretty this morning. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, beautiful Bernice, I appreciate you being in the building. You said good morning, sis, T. Pre, and chat room. Appreciate everybody for being in the building today. Listen, guys, we got a lot of shit to get into. But before we get into anything in regards to the sector, I am definitely going to talk about this Umar Johnson stuff. Now, shout out to one of the loungers who actually sent me a link. And it was because of a video that I did a few months ago on Umar. And let me pull up that video real quick. It was a video that I did on Umar a few months ago about Umar's HVAC. Let's continue the combo with facts, okay? And there was a lot of conversation that came out in that conversation. As you guys know, we had made a phone call. Myself and Israel Bound had made a couple of phone calls, and we spoke to a couple of contractors regarding the HVAC installation and how that works, and basically what the outcome would be of that, who can install an HVAC, who cannot, and that kind of stuff. It was kind of the buzz for a while, and actually after that conversation, we started to see a little bit of changes with Umar, right? Where he started to kind of comply with what was actually being said about installation of an HVAC, okay? So we're going to get into a little bit of this morning because definitely a lounger sent me a link to a video that was, I guess it was to 60 million views. You guys know that channel, as well as the King Kong Consciousness channel. So we're going to get into what happened on 60 million views the other day. And then we're going to get into what happened on King Kong Consciousness, okay? So again, shout out to the lounger who sent this information to me. Truly appreciate that. But I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can hear this conversation that Umar was having with somebody else just about 4 or 5 days ago, okay? And I told the lounger that I would definitely share this with the loungers, and we would discuss this a little bit further. But now, in light of what's going on at the school allegedly right now, we are definitely going to talk about this. And then we're also going to bring up some information on the city of Wilmington. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into this without further ado. Bear with me just a moment while I present. Okay, and again, this is fair use, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put up my fair use banner, which is the use of fair use, which is the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which is the allowance made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, and all that good stuff. Now, let's go ahead and get right into this conversation that Dr. Umar Johnson was having in regards to the FDNG HVAC delay update. Okay. Now, I know there's questions about, well, wait, didn't he already install the HVAC? No, he installed the HVAC to the gym, which is a separate building from either one of the school buildings. Okay. That HVAC would have nothing to do with the rest of those buildings because those buildings don't even sit, like they're not even like right next to it. They are next to each other, but there's a decent amount of space between that building and this other building. Okay, so he would have to install an HVAC on the actual school building itself. Okay, and he does not have that right now. So I want you guys to hear what his excuse is for this. And yeah, we're going to get into that.
And for an update on the school, Bobby Davis.
Yes.
Man, the bittersweet progress of FDMG. So the last time I was on your show, I told you all we needed was a little piece of HVAC done.
That's right, for the
Once that
battery.
was done, Yep, the batteries for the HVAC VAVs in the classroom. And they got those done.
Mm-hmm.
Those are done.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They found that they need to replace this other little piece of equipment on the HVAC. From what I'm told, it's not a really big piece of equipment. It's not very expensive, but it's very important in order for the unit to run right.
Mm-hmm.
And the company handling the HVAC repair tells me that piece will not be in before March the 31st.
Wow.
You see how this works?
So again, okay, this is him talking to somebody who has not been educated on how an HVAC is installed, right? What happens with the HVAC, if there's custom made pieces and all this other stuff that need to be added to an HVAC in order for it to work properly and all this. We've already had here on the lounge those conversations with experts, right? Whether or not there, is some type of bling, kind of HVAC, some Pan-African HVAC out there, somehow that you find pieces to and little stuff like that. Either an HVAC is replaced, right? Or an HVAC is repaired. I'm not sure where all this other stuff is coming from. And you've got to go and get parts, and the parts aren't going to be in until this date and all this other stuff. That stuff doesn't make any sense at all, okay? Considering the fact that you can just simply, the HVAC supply company would have whatever it is, and then they would just go ahead and the technician, according to the experts, right? The technician would just simply come out and put in what needs to be done. It's all this other stuff seems to be another ploy to kind of pull out and drag out this time that Umar would need or have in order to keep collecting donations for this school. Now let's go ahead and keep going real quick.
So
I
basically, we're going to lose the whole month.
Yeah.
Because I want to do the grand opening in April or May.
Yeah.
But now they're saying they don't get that piece in not before the last day of the month, which I thought was kind of interesting. But they said they can't get the piece in before the last day of March, which means they're going to repair it sometime in April,
right?
Which means we're going to have to use the rest of that month to get our certificate of occupancy, which means now you're looking at May or June. So what I think I'm going to do, Baba, is I think I'm going to go ahead and condense the grand opening, or how do you say?
Okay, now before he gets into that, I want to highlight something he said. He said he wouldn't be able, because of this HVAC situation, right? He would not be able to get a certificate of occupancy until that is completed. I want you guys to hear that, because that, he said, is actually very important, okay, to what we're about to get into in just a minute in regards to this school situation that's going on lately, okay? But he did say something that is needed in the city of Wilmington, okay, and also needed in order to conduct business in there, okay? He needs that certificate of occupancy. As long as he does not have that, there is no school, okay? I want you guys to understand that. Everybody who's arguing about this is a school, all of y'all haters need to stand down and y'all haters need to stop talking about him. The bottom line is, if he does not have a certificate of occupancy in that building, there's no school, there's no business, period. Okay? So that is very important, and that is something to keep in mind when we get into the next part of what he said. Now let's go ahead and finish up what he's saying here, and then we'll go ahead and get into the other.
Collapse the grand opening into the third annual FDMG Festival.
Of Labor Day?
Take a week, September and I haven't applied for it though, so I got to get that date.
Yeah, but that's when the festival is usually around Labor Day weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But anywhere in that vicinity is fine with me.
Yeah, and so what I think we're going to do, Baba, is I think we're going to make it a weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to make it a 2 or 3 day event.
What I think is funny is that he's sitting here planning with this man, okay, this another third annual festival, okay, and he said, okay, so we're going to have this on Labor Day. Umar didn't even know when Labor Day was or if he's going to have it on Labor Day or anything. He's just in here planning another party another show-off event, right, for a building that does not have a certificate of occupancy. Okay, now let's go ahead and keep going. Let's keep going. Let's listen to this.
Include a conference inside the school building.
Yeah, I was just in my head. I said you have a conference on a Friday, had a festival on a Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because waiting on them, they keep pushing us back. We might well just go ahead and
especially if you have already started registration by then, and you could possibly have some of the students in their uniforms as part of a parade.
Possibly. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Right.
But so I think we're just going to do it all together that way. It'll save us money too, so we ain't got to pay for two different events. We could just.
So, don't y'all think that since this is supposed to be a school, right, that would be the main priority, is to have the children present for the school, right? To have the children like registered, maybe coming out and showing like, hey, I'm a student at FDMG. Hey, here's the parents. We have, signed up our children for FDMG. It would seem like by the third annual party, right? And the fact that he's trying to plan this event and this man threw this out there like, hey, yeah, maybe we can have the kids in uniforms and stuff like that and have them ready. Umar was just like, that was like almost like an afterthought to him, right? Did y'all notice that? He was just like, well, yeah, maybe we could do that, like what? So why are we having this event then, sir? Because I thought that the whole purpose of this whole thing was to get the community hype about putting their kids in this school. I mean, wouldn't that be the purpose, right? So it seems like you would want the kids, the students, the parents, the ones who are part of this whole dream, right? The whole purpose of you having the dream. It seems like you would want them to be part of the programming, right? You would make sure that was included and, incorporated. It seems like not somebody on the outside wouldn't be coming in and telling you these ideas. And you're like, yeah, we might be able to do that. Like, what? Where is the committee that's putting this stuff together? Where is the Umar's, a team that's actually like, handling this kind of, very simple, stuff like this? Okay. Of course you should want the kids, the students to be involved. Like, I can't understand how the students aren't involved in this situation, and they're not the first ones to be involved in this situation. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I don't understand. You said, I know y'all tired of his excuses by now. I'm just saying, like, we are again talking about this HVAC, and you're making up more stories about this HVAC with people who are just not educated about the HVAC systems, right? They're not educated on how that really works, and that he does not need all these pieces and parts and all these imaginary people coming in and checking on it and saying, well, you need this and we got to order that and we got to have some special pieces. Over here on Black Lounge, we have literally debunked that whole story. We've done that. I'll put links to that in my description box so you guys can hear it for yourself. It also went across various parts of social media. Okay, so lots of people have seen this video. So yes, Umar most definitely is out here still finessing the people when it comes to this HVAC system. And it really doesn't make any sense to be doing all that. You say, hey, make a change. I appreciate you. You said Umar is making it up as he go. I'm just saying, right? It's almost like it don't make no sense how he just adds stuff and takes stuff away and makes stuff whatever he wants it to be and how he gonna make it. And we all just supposed to believe him and just keep throwing the donations at him. Speaking of donations, we're about to get into that in just a second. But I wanted you guys to just kind of hear what Umar was saying in regards to FDMG, in regards to the HVAC, in regards to the festival, and in regards to the alleged opening. But I particularly wanted y'all to hear about that certificate of occupancy, okay? Because that is very important to what we're about to get into. You said, that's not what we're doing. Hey, that's not what we're doing. You said, Grand Rising, Miss T. Pre and Loungers. Grand Rising to you too. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, exactly, Propane. You said, good morning, T. Pre and chat. Hey, Miss Murph, I appreciate you always coming in the building. You say, yep, make a change. You said Umar is a one-man show. Exactly. There's no way he has any type of sophisticated team or anything like that, that if he would be, just simply not even making the children and the parents part of this whole FDMG festival that he wants to have the third time in September with no school. He didn't even know that it was going to be in September. He didn't know when it was going to be. He just, this guy was sitting here and having to tell him everything. Like, it's just crazy what to do at the festival, who to have at the festival, what date to have it, all this other stuff. Again, why are we having a festival, right? Why are we even planning a festival without having, number one, the certificate of occupancy, right? That has to be had. You can't have no conferences inside the school. A conference about what, right? Inside the school or any of this stuff, if you don't have that. You have to have that, okay? And like I said, we're going to get into that in just a second. You said, what is an unaccredited school called? Oh, yeah, daycare, right? Right, though. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take you guys on a little tour, too, and show you guys how many daycares are, like, right around that area, right? But there's actually a lot of childcare centers, like, right there. You said Umar could care less about the children. It's an afterthought. Exactly. Definitely an afterthought. He has no idea, no care in the world about whether the children are there, whether the parents, even come sign up children. He just wants y'all to come and celebrate at this FDMG festival with him, okay? Pay for vendor sites, all this other stuff. Do all these things that would put money in the pockets of him and FDMG, but not bring any actual students in and have them starting to get, taught by any teachers or anything like that. Meanwhile, he's collecting all your data, collecting your resumes and all these other things that have all your information on it. But, nobody's getting hired. None of this other stuff is happening. And he's still out here lying about these HVACs. You said he took the boards off those windows because it smells. He knew he wasn't going to have the HVAC working to get it hot up in there. Okay. And you know what? There's a lot more to that board situation that we're about to get into in just a second, guys. Trust me, you guys are going to want to stick around for this. You said you laughed at propane. You said T-Pre, make a change, broke the window. You know it. I love you, bro. I appreciate you. And you had an excellent show last night. I actually fell asleep on it. But shout out to you, Derell, everybody. Y'all had a great show last night. And make sure y'all go over and subscribe to We Unlock Nation. If you're not subscribed, make sure you go over there. But I was listening in the clouds. I was just so tired. You said We Unlock sound dumb. You know what? I think he's just playing with you. Make a change. All right, guys. So listen, I'm going to take a quick 1-minute timer. I want to take a water break. And then we are going to get into this next part of what is going on with Umar Johnson, okay? Again, just a 1-minute timer, so go ahead and run up and down the steps real quick, guys, okay? Actually, we're going to do 2 minutes. All right, guys. So shout out to all of y'all. Make sure that y'all are hitting the like button on the way in. Okay. Make sure that you are subscribed and share this video out so that everybody knows that we are out here giving out this good tea. Okay. Now, we are going to get into the most recent craziness from Dr. Umar Johnson. Okay. In regards to the FDMG school. This video was done yesterday. Okay. And, or yeah, somewhere around in the last 24 hours. Okay. And I thought this video was crazy because it was just the way that he presented the video. And it was a way that he was, what he was kind of talking about in the video that I just found to be funny. And I'm going to share with you guys some information on the city of Wilmington's website, okay, in regards to vacant buildings. All right. So we'll get into that. But let's first listen a little bit into what this guy was talking about in regards to the school. Okay. And again, this is going to be played under fair use. So let me go ahead and put up my fair use banner. All right. And bear with me just a moment. And then we are going to get right into this right
Peace
here.
and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. This is your big brother, King Kong Consciousness, Intercontinental Ifa Tunde. We live at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Brothers and sisters, I got some bad news, but we not going to stop. I want to give all my donors and supporters a minute to pull up at King Kong Consciousness Highway, Dr. Papa Boulevard, Ifa Tunde Avenue. We here, getting the school ready, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Intellectual insurrection begins September 3rd, 2024. But we want y'all to know, you're hearing it directly from me, CEO, CAO, principal, history teacher, spirituality instructor, brothers and sisters. We have to cover the windows back up. We have to cover the windows back up. Brothers and sisters, we have to cover the windows back up on the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Elementary School. We got to cover the windows up, family. We got to cover the windows back up. Somebody.
All right, so let's get into a couple of y'all comments, and then we are definitely going to get into the rest of this video. You said, did that man say once the kids are registered and in uniform, registered for what, right? I guess registered to play in the gym. I don't know. You said, I don't think any haters broke the windows. The property has been getting vandalized before Umar purchased the property. That is what happens when you purchase a property in a heavily crime area. So I'll tell you about the area. I'll also tell you about the school itself, and then we'll go into the rest of that. You said, we on Lock Nation. I heard Umar say subliminally that he thinks Dusty did it, mean Dusty Don. You know what? He said, Muz Umar a mess, not Don though, right? You said, that's not what we doing. Yup, SMDH. You said, I hate going against Philly, but this ain't it. Okay, I'm just saying. I hate that shit too, but this nigga is really, really repping Philly really fucking bad. So, all right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this real quick.
Somebody broke a window. They broke a window, brothers and sisters. They broke a window. I'm about to show y'all the window. We covering them back up. We can't. Black people, we are so self-hating, so self-destructive. They broke a window, brothers and sisters. So we got to cover them back up. We got to cover them back up. Investigation is pending. They broke the window. Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
Now, do y'all see this window? Like, I want y'all to look at the window closely, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and keep playing it because I want you guys to look closely at the window and the damage to the window, all right? Just look at that first.
They broke the window.
See that? You see how the window looks like it's a double pane window or so, and that the first layer or so may have been broken on it, right? That's what it looks like to me.
Window, brothers and sisters. Y'all see that? They broke the window. Somebody threw a rock through the window. They threw a rock through the window, brothers and sisters.
What kind of rock? What did they throw, a boulder through that bitch? Like, what kind of rock did that much damage? There's nobody that, why? For what reason, right? And if they did, I'm confused. Because I'm like, what, why? What? You know what I mean? Like, what reason would they have to do that? I could see them vandalizing the building. In some ways, the rock thing, I'm having a hard time with. It seems like the rock should still be right there, or it obviously didn't break through and go inside the building, so it should be right there, right outside the window. What you mean to tell me that the person who did that was kind enough to pick up the brick and take that with them, or pick up the rock and take that with them? It should be right there.
They threw a rock through the window. All the money we paid to get this done, and we got people sabotaging, brothers and sisters.
Now, I'm going to go back a little bit again because I kind of want y'all to see this window. All right? Want y'all to see this
the windows
window.
back up. We got the good brothers out here. We're going to cover the windows back up, brothers and sisters.
Hold on. Let me do this.
Sabotaging, brothers and sisters. I want y'all to see yourself. They threw a rock. Y'all see that?
He told us he want us to see ourselves. We need to see ourselves and what we do, black people. This is what you do, black people. He blaming us. Now listen to the rest of this bullshit.
They bust the rock. They bust the rock, brothers and sisters. So we covering the windows back up. We got the good brothers out here. We're going to cover the windows back up, brothers and sisters. We got black people who don't want to see us succeed.
You see the man dragging the boards over there, right? You see him dragging a board over there.
We got Negroes who don't want.
And then you hear Umar blaming the people for this, right? It's the people's fault that this happened. Just like what happened at the store down there in Atlanta, right? When that store got busted out, it was the people's fault that this happened. Turns out that all them stores had gotten vandalized. But yeah, he was talking about us because he was coming to that person's store. This is why that store got vandalized. And he told y'all, get on y'all Cash App. And y'all niggas did.
Want to see liberation, brothers and sisters.
Now listen to this shit. Listen to what he said.
We got Negroes who don't want to see liberation. So we got to cover the windows back up, brothers and sisters. The haters. You got black folks who don't want to see us win. They don't want to see black boys win. They broke the windows. So we got to pay, brothers and sisters.
Now, here's the thing, right? How come he don't have no insurance? The insurance should be able to cover that. If the window was broken, right? Why are we, the people, needing to pay for this window? He don't have insurance on this building? What is going on, Umar? You're talking about getting a certificate of occupancy within the next month and a half, okay? You're talking about having a festival to possibly have students there, have parents there, and all this stuff, have conferences in the building, right? But you don't have insurance on this building? Like, you need insurance. What if there's a fire there? What if anything happens? You're gone. You're like out of everything if you don't have insurance. Very simple things like that insurance should be able to cover. I'm just saying, okay? But we're going to go ahead and let him finish up and keep talking.
Hit your Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit the Cash App, brothers and sisters. Let them know that we're going to do this no matter what. Hit the Cash App. Let them know we're going to do this no matter what. Hit your Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit your Cash App for the haters who bust our window out. Hit your Cash App for the haters who bust our window out. Hit your Cash App for the haters who bust the window out, $FDMG School. I got on Huey P. Newton today because I think it's time to go to war. I got on my Huey P. Newton, rest in peace, co-founder of the Black Panther Party, Oakland, California, 1966. Huey P. Newton, assassinated the day after my birthday, August the 27th. I had to put on Huey P. Newton today.
Boy, for what? Who you about to fight? Because you don't even know nobody in the community. So, like, what you about to do? What are you about to do? See, it's funny because if he was more involved with community leaders and community activists, right, people might actually be looking out for shit like that. They might actually have, people out there that would look out for the school and make sure that people aren't doing stuff like that. Because guess what? Why are they only targeting that school? Out of all the other places, and Make a Change had said something earlier about this high crime area, right? I want you to understand, and I'm going to take y'all on a little tour real quick. Let me do that. Let me finish this up, and then I'm going to take y'all on a tour around that vicinity. Okay, we're just going to use Google Maps, and we're going to go right around there, and I'm going to tell you guys everything that's around there. Okay, and show you guys just how much of a not so much of a high crime area it is. Okay, however, there's high crime in certain like pockets of the city of Wilmington, but right there in that spot, it's not so much high crime. There's actually like a lot of daycares, a lot of schools, there's churches and stuff like that around there. There's a food and clothing distribution center around there. There's a doctor's office for a pediatrician's office that the DuPonts own right around there. There's a lot of stuff like right there. Okay, so I wouldn't talk so much about the high crime per se. I would talk about like the environment maybe, but the high crime, not so much. And I will show you guys that in just a second, okay? But let's go ahead and finish this out. And then again, we are going to get into what the city of Wilmington has to say about this stuff, okay? So let's go ahead and listen to this.
With the Garvey RBG, because we got to go to war. They're trying to stop us from building an education for our children. You trying to stop an independent school? You gonna bust the windows out of our school because you jealous? You hating on the babies? How you gonna hate on the future of black boys? How you gonna hate on the future of black boys, brothers and sisters? They hating on the future. We got cameras in. We got cameras in. I'm going to be looking at camera footage all night to find out who did this. We got cameras. We got cameras. I'm going to be looking at camera footage all night to find out who did this. We got cameras. We got cameras. I'm going to be looking at camera footage all night to find out who did this, brothers and sisters. We got cameras. The cameras is working.
So if the cameras are working, right, and you can look at them, right? I mean, I'm not really sure what you would do considering the fact that you don't know anybody in this motherfucker community. You understand what I'm saying? You're not aware of people. Nobody really knows you like that. You're not involved in stuff in the community, right? So who would you identify in that camera? Like I'm kind of trying to figure out, you know, who you would be able to identify as the alleged person and perpetrators of who've done this to the school. How would you know, right? So how do you handle stuff like this? You know, if you don't want to call the cops, okay? I mean, I don't really know what to tell you other than contact your insurance company. Why isn't the insurance company paying for this window? I mean, this is, you know, very simple things that business owners and people that own properties, right, would be doing to make sure that they're covered in case something like this happens, right? To make sure that they can actually, you know, come out of pocket for stuff like, they don't have to come out of pocket for stuff like this and get on here and start crowdfunding for things like this, you know, if something like this happens. Because either way, regardless of whether you want to do this through the Pan-African community or not, you're still going to have to follow the law, right? So therefore, you will have to have insurance on that building. Like that is by law in the state of Delaware, you will have to have insurance on that building. So why don't you already have insurance on the building? That should immediately be a claim that you're putting in with the insurance company, and that should be taken care of today or tomorrow by the latest, okay? But I'm actually going to show you guys why he has to put those boards back up, okay? Because like I said, this ain't got nothing to do with that building being, with that window being broken out or anything like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into a couple more comments for you guys. You said Umar a mess, not Don, right? Okay, I've read all these already. You said, this is amazing. We've been watching this saga for years. I'm totally in awe. And a lot of people are. It's just crazy because they keep us entertained, right? You said, that's not what we're doing. Close to the end, Umar says, I look at the security cameras and check for Dusty. That's crazy. You said, Umar did it. And it makes you think he did. It really do. There's a couple of factors for why I would think this. And I'm going to get into that one part in just a second. But the biggest thing I think is simply because, well, the first thing is because he's on here all hyped up with all this bullshit, right? You know, trying to get everybody all worked up over the kids, right? The same kids that he's not even willing to invite to the FDMG festival. But he's sitting up here getting y'all worked up over haters over the kids, right? Got y'all all upset, getting y'all all worked up over this stuff. And then come to find out, he should just call his insurance company and file a claim. Like that literally would take care of that simple window, right? It would take care of that. I'm not sure why he's got to get on, y'all got to get on the Cash App to fix that. Like, are you serious? On top of that, I told y'all, them windows look like the same windows that was there when Moyer was there. It just looks like he may have put some tint on them. That's the only thing it looks like. It doesn't look like anything new, about those windows at all. So, I'm not even sure if that window wasn't already broken. Like, let's go there, right? Let's talk about that, which has a lot to do with what we're also about to get into, okay? You said that window had to be broken. Febreze only goes so far, right? You said so much for the fake ass cameras he said he got, okay? I'm just saying, where's the cameras at? If you got cameras, then you should be able to turn over that footage to the cops. There should be a police report in place. He called the cops on Don, right? He called the police on him. So why can't he call the police on this fucking window? I don't understand. I don't get it. You said they bust the rock. Right. They bust the rock. They ain't bust the window. They bust the rock, though. Well, how come the rock is not sitting right there under the window? Because Umar, he would pick up the rock, show you the rock, all this other stuff. How come that's not there? I don't understand. I really don't. You said, I hope that rock gets fixed. Y'all are crazy. Hold on, guys. Y'all are fucking hilarious. That is too funny. You said, Muzz, yo. You said that's not through the window. They threw a rock at the window. Exactly. And you can clearly see it didn't go through the window, right? But even if it did, like, okay, right? But to me, I'm telling y'all, this looks like I said, them windows look like the same windows that were on there when Moyer was there. I could be wrong, but they look like the same windows, okay? So how do we know if that window wasn't already broken? I'm just saying. How do we know, right? Now, I can say I have gone by the school. I did know that the boards were off the windows, right? That's very noticeable with that school, considering the fact that those boards have been up for so long and that school has been vacant for so long, okay? A lot of people are looking for the school to finally open, that kind of thing. So if he's got the boards off the windows, you would assume that the school is going to open up, okay? This is something you would think, right? I wasn't necessarily looking for a window and whether the window was broken or something. So I could have easily bypassed that when I went past the building a couple times, okay? So it wouldn't be surprising to me if that window was already looking like that, okay? And there was an issue that the city may have had about it, okay? And then we'll get into that in just a second. You said propane, you laughed at him. You said they threw the window at the rock, right? They threw that whole window at the rock. You said, Umar, shut the fuck up, okay? You said he the bum that bust the window. He looked like he'd been turning the heat down for days, okay? I'm just saying. You said, Muzz. You said, and Jermaine Shoemake has no, hey, Antonio Barnes. You said, and Jermaine Shoemake has no kind of liability insurance on that vacant property that he owes $17K in vacant property taxes. Thank you. We're going to get into a lot more than even just that, Antonio Barnes, because there's even more to this story and this saga than just this, okay? Because like I said, that shit did not sit well with me when he was on here telling everybody to get on their Cash App and how black people ain't shit and all this other stuff like he always do. And I said, let me go ahead and do a little bit of research on this since I'm from Delaware. You said this is comical to him. Such a fucking clown. Okay. What's up, nonconformist? I appreciate you. Hey, chat lives. I appreciate you being in the building. You said our honorable great Garvey staplers are out of the Staples family. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Get on the Cash App. $ FDMG ain't coming. FDMG ain't coming. Okay. You said they are going to scrap those HVAC systems units that are not installed next. Exactly. Watch, or somebody's going to come and do something else. I was talking about the HVAC earlier, where he was actually talking about the HVAC and saying that now they need some new part for the other HVAC, right? And they're waiting on that part. They had to order the part. And like I said, we've already debunked all of those lies a couple months ago when we talked to an HVAC supplier and an HVAC installer who had talked, extensively on how HVACs are installed, how, they are obtained, and all of that stuff. We talked about all those things. So we know Umar lying about that HVAC. It don't matter what he's talking about. He ain't going to convince me at all. You said, sure, buddy. You said, chat lives, what's good? You said, peace, make a change. You said, I see Don about to get blamed. Okay. Hey, Vici, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, there is no insurance. It would be hard to purchase insurance for a vandalized property. Well, exactly. Which is why he would have to have things a certain way according to the city of Wilmington. Okay. So this is what we're about to get into. So I'm glad you brought that up because yes, you're absolutely right. You said cyber bum. Okay. You said that's what the plan was from the first place. He doesn't have to follow the law if he never plans on opening up a school. Exactly. All he has to do is get on here, and tell y'all hit the Cash App. That's all he got to do. You said this is hella long con to support his lifestyle. Okay. It don't make no goddamn sense. You said AB Factory. You said try to purchase property insurance for a heavily vandalized property is like trying to purchase life insurance when you have terminal cancer. Exactly. Make a change, which is why the city of Wilmington has specific things in place for vacant properties. Okay. And this is why what we're going to talk about. You said he got them tinted, but again, he pulled no permits to get even that small job done. Exactly. Mm-hmm. You said he doesn't have the storage space and or capacity on his phone to have continuous live stream surveillance on the abandoned buildings to his phone. We already know he doesn't have a computer. We already know he ain't paying shit. He don't even want to pay taxes. I'll be damned if he's paying somebody like ADT or Protection One to be looking after his business. He says software suite in those abandoned buildings. Okay. You said he would have sensor motion cameras or stop shot camera images sent to his phone. Exactly. You said, yeah, T-Pre, I don't believe those clouds in the background either. I happen to know for a fact that those clouds were not over that building. You said, make a change. I bet Umar is wearing mismatched socks too, bro. Right? You said, Umar, the goat of bum scammers. Child, just saying. You said, sup, Antonio Barnes. So if those buildings burn down, you saying Umar ain't getting no money because he has insurance on them? Exactly. He doesn't have insurance on them. There's no way he has insurance. There's no way. There's absolutely no way he has insurance on those buildings. And I know for a fact that he couldn't have insurance on those buildings, considering what Make a Change is talking about up here, and also what the city of Wilmington says in regards to that matter. You said chat lives peace. You said peace to Muslim. And you said he's lying as usual. You see those missing ceiling panels throughout the small building. You know the HVAC system technicians aren't done either. The electricians haven't finished their job. Exactly. You said if the same windows, if it's the same windows, the windows were only covered to prevent people from getting into the property. Exactly. And you said he is getting money, Muslim, from this project. Mm-hmm. You said that is normal. Exactly. You said he wins either way. You said Antonio Barnes, right? I got that. But do you know if he has insurance on both of these buildings? There's no way. And I'm going to show you how. You said, you laughed, and then you said he doesn't, Muslim. Exactly. Hold on. Let me get into. Okay. So I think I got through all the comments. Let me go ahead and finish up a little bit of this video, and then we're going to go right to the City of Wilmington's website.
Going to see who did it. I'm going to see who did it. Don't worry about that. We're going to see who did it. I might not know who they are, but we're going to see who did it. So don't worry about that. I just want y'all to see the type of opposition we get for trying to save our children. I just want y'all to see the type of opposition we getting
The only opposition I see is him. He the only one opposing his own project. You are the only one literally so far opposing your own project, sir. Like, this is not anybody doing this. Nobody's doing anything to you. And like I said, even if you do see who did it, what are you going to do about it? Like, I mean, you don't know anybody around here. So it's not like you can get anybody to point out who somebody is or anything like that, because you don't know anybody. And that's how small Wilmington is, guys, right? Like, you can literally walk from one side, from the north up to west side, you know, in like an hour. Okay. Like, it is so small that everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows all the families, all the family names and different things like that. So if somebody's kid was out of line or if somebody did some BS like that, it wouldn't be hard to be like, oh yeah, that's such and such son. Or, oh yeah, that's whoever. Like, it wouldn't be hard to do that because that's how small the community is. Okay. But literally, he is not involved in the community. Like, he doesn't know any of these people. He's not connected in any kind of way. And this is why looking at some quote unquote surveillance cameras, if they even work, wouldn't make any goddamn sense. It just wouldn't. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't make sense at all. Okay. So yeah, it could be, you know, helpful towards, you know, security of the building. But if you don't actually have like Protection One or ADT security or somebody like that helping you with this kind of stuff, I'm not sure what them cameras are really going to do. You know, like, I don't understand. You said because his name is not on the buildings in the first place, it's the fake nonprofit organization's name and ownership of those abandoned buildings. You said that is tied to his personal Cash App account under the same name of the fake nonprofit organization. Mm-hmm. You say, Antonio Barnes, bro, how can the buildings be abandoned? Why are people still saying that? Because there's no occupancy. The city of Wilmington requires you to have a certificate of occupancy in order for it to be off of the vacant properties list. This building is still on the vacant properties list, and there is no certificate of occupancy. And he even admitted that in the previous video that I showed, where he said he's trying to obtain the certificate of occupancy. And in order to do that, there's certain things that have to be done. The building has to be able to be occupied safely. So license and inspection has certain things that they require to be in place. And one of them is that HVAC system to be working properly, that the electrical system is working properly, that the plumbing systems are working properly, and so forth and so on. And then and only then is when he can actually get the certificate of occupancy, which would bring him off of the vacant buildings list. That is why it's saying that that the buildings are abandoned. What's up, Conscious Energy? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, AB dude, Umar owns the property. The property is owned by FDMG, and the only officer owned list for FDMG is Umar. Yep. So he does own the buildings for sure. You said propane. You said the opening day of FDMG is 2043. I heard it was 2063. So you got to make a date for that. Okay, everybody, we got to put our time up. Okay, make sure y'all take y'all time off from work. Okay, so that we can be there on 2063, September of 2063. Okay, so that we can be there for the opening of FDMG. You said, Peace Conscious Energy, put your guns away. Okay. You said, hey, chat lives. You said the vacant properties list is not equal to abandoned. It absolutely is equal to abandoned. I don't know why you think that. What do you mean? Maybe in your city, I don't know. But here, the vacant properties list means that that building is abandoned. That property is vacant. It is not listed as occupied. There's no business taking place there, and there's no residency there. Yes, it is on the abandoned properties or vacant properties list here. That is the same thing here. You said, chat lives, the buildings are listed on the vacant properties list of Wilmington, Delaware. Yep, it is. It is. You said, Antonio Barnes, I'm aware of the vacant properties program in Wilmington. Okay, good. So then you would know that that is the same thing. You said, the year 3000, laughing my ass off. What's up, Liz Lyricist? I appreciate you. And you said, ain't that the same year CE gonna be president? Yeah. You said, chat lives, correct. It's put in place to keep property owners from leaving property vacant because there is a bunch of vacant properties in a neighborhood, we know what happens. You said Propane, Oak Lane, Antonio Barnes. In a couple of minutes, Umar is going to say, the lights are on, brothers and sisters. Then Umar going to praise Ogon. The lights been on for more than 10, 15 minutes. Laugh out loud. You know what? Okay, y'all. So listen, guys. Let's go ahead and get right into this because I actually, the man owes $17K in vacant property taxes still. So let's go ahead and get into the city of Wilmington, okay? Because I really think it's important that, hold on, let me stop sharing this real quick. Because I really think it's important that people kind of understand what the city is requesting, okay? And what he has to do. And it's not just for him, it's anybody that owns vacant property in the state, in the city of Wilmington. Now, all the cities have different, and the towns and municipalities in Delaware, they have different rules, right? But most of the rules are pretty much the same. There's kind of some things that may be different just based off of where it's located, right? And the city of Wilmington itself has specific things for why they want things to be a certain way. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about vacant properties here in Wilmington and what is expected of these vacant properties. And we're going to go ahead and get right into this stuff. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen on this. And again, you guys, this is for the city of Wilmington, Delaware. This is their website, and this is their municipal code library. Okay, so basically, this is where you get all your sections and section 10 whatevers, and you kind of figure out what all the codes are and what those codes mean. Okay, so this is the vacant property section 1342 of Wilmington, Delaware, and this is basically what this is basically regarding the health and safety of the community, as well as what is expected of a owner of a vacant property. Okay, so vacant when used in this section shall mean the following, except where the context clearly indicates a different meaning. A building or structure intended for residential or commercial use shall be deemed vacant if, for more than 45 consecutive days, no person or persons currently conducts a lawfully licensed business or lawfully resides or lives in any part of the building or structure as the legal or equitable owners or tenant, occupants or owner occupants or tenants, or otherwise claiming possession through the owner on a permanent, non-transient basis. This term does not include unoccupied structures that are, one, undergoing construction, rehabilitation, or renovation that is proceeding without unreasonable delay caused by the owner or property manager. I can tell you an example of a place that that's happening to for those of you who are familiar with Wilmington. Maryland Sub Shop is under that type of rehabilitation right now. So they're still doing their little work in the back of the building and still making y'all's cheesesteaks and all that stuff. But the whole front of the building is fucked up, okay? They got everything messed up out there at the Maryland Avenue Sub Shop. So for those of y'all that are familiar with Wilmington and familiar with the West Side, you would know about Maryland Ave Sub Shops. And that is a prime example of a resident or a building that is kind of unoccupied in the front. The back, they're still using the kitchen, but they are rehabbing the building. All right. Number two, used or held for use by the property owner as a vacation or seasonal home, and there are no code violations, okay? Number three, purchased at sheriff's sale and have exhausted the statutory redemption period, or four, physically secured and the subject of a probate action or other litigation in which ownership is in contest, okay? Now, another part of this would be, we're going to get into B. Okay, so that was A. Now let's get into B. General, all vacant structures and surrounding premises shall be maintained by the property secure and sanitary condition as provided generally in this chapter and specifically in this section, so as not to endanger the health, safety, or welfare of the public. This maintenance shall include the following. 1, replacing any broken windows. 2, replacing deteriorated roofing or siding to keep the property weather tight. 3. Trimming shrubbery and grass to prevent neglected vegetation and natural overgrowth. 4. Repairing or removing any accessory building and equipment, the condition of which is less than would be expected if the property were in active use. 5. Securing all building openings to prohibit the unauthorized or illegal use of the premises or any building or equipment. 6. Removing or correcting any condition detrimental to the safety of the general public, including but not limited to trash, debris, and hazardous or unhealthy materials that have accumulated on the property. 7. Maintaining an exterior surfaces in a weatherproof condition and surface coated to match the structure's exterior facade. And 8. Maintaining the integrity of the building structure in good repair and capable of safely supporting imposed loads. Okay. And then there is the rest of this where it talks about inspection of structures, buildings, dwellings, generally right of entry of enforcement officer. And it talks about like how the code enforcement officer can come in and how they have the right to come in. And they have like 48 hours, and then they can come in there and they can come in and inspect anytime that they kind of want to. Okay. So I went into all that, and particularly that, so that I can tell you guys about how the code enforcement officers work, how they don't play no games in the city of Wilmington. Okay. And they come around often, especially if there is a bunch of complaints about a place. Okay. So if there's people that are constantly complaining about this, constantly bringing this to the attention of the city, then the city will be coming out more often, and they will kind of inspect the unit and inspect the property, and figure out what's going on. So what it sounds like is one of two things happen here. Okay. Either the code enforcement officers came out and they were wondering why these windows were open like they were without having any boards on them. Okay. Because in the city, most of the vacant properties have boards on them, on the windows on the bottom floors to prevent, like it says here, to prevent people from being able to enter the property. Okay. That is generally the thing. You see that all over the place when, these properties are vacant. And that is the reason, okay? Because literally, this is part of the coding in the city, okay? So if it would make sense that a code enforcement officer would come around to this vacant property that he knows does not have a certificate of occupancy, okay? And wonder why the property is looking as if the kids are coming to school tomorrow. Okay, so now he's asking questions. He's probably inspecting, and he's probably going out, and he's probably went in there. Okay, and he probably said, yeah, this isn't ready for occupancy. So you're going to have to secure this property back to the way that it was until it is ready for occupancy. Okay, either that happened, or they went around and they looked and they saw that there was a broken window, and they're like, yo, this window is broken. This needs to be replaced. This needs to be repaired. And you need to go ahead and cover these windows back up. That's what it sounds like happened to me. It doesn't sound like, somebody in the town or somebody was hating on Umar or hating on FDMG and went up there and threw a rock at the window. And now we got to go and get on our Cash App and pay for this. No, it sounds like Umar should have never taken those boards off of the windows to begin with, because he is not ready to obtain a certificate of occupancy. That building is nowhere close to ready. Nowhere close to ready. Okay. Like literally, there's still drop ceilings that are missing. The electric is being connected through a generator. You can call Delmarva Power yourself and ask them if there is actually a account with them for FDMG. You can ask all these questions, and I guarantee you they're going to tell you no. Okay. Because there is no actual, account there. Okay. And all these other things that are going on with FDMG, it is not ready to be occupied. And this is why I am thinking, according to what the city of Wilmington would say, and according to what is going on with that building. It sounds to me like this building is just simply not ready, okay, for occupancy. And that is why Umar is on here telling y'all to get on y'all Cash App. Okay? There is like literally the reason why Umar is telling y'all to get on y'all Cash App is because the city is basically on him about either doing something with putting that property back the way that it was because it's on the vacant property list, okay? And because it's not occupied and there's no certificate of occupancy there, and it's not prepared for a certificate of occupancy, it's not even close to being prepared for that, okay? And that is the reason why, license and inspection probably came around and told him, no, sir, you got to put these boards back up, right? Or you got to open up the building. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You can't just have this like this because you just want everybody to think that this is Big Papa Boulevard. You can't do that. You have to do what the city says. You have to, actually go by the law, okay, and so forth, which is also why I believe he does not have insurance, like Make a Change was saying, okay? Because yes, how do you have insurance if you have this much damage to this property? If there's so many things wrong with this property, like the insurance company will insure you, but I'm talking about you're going to have to pay a hefty premium. Just like he said, it's like saying to the insurance company that you have terminal cancer or that you're a smoker, right? Or something like that. Those are things that would cause your premium to be skyrocketing, okay? And Umar don't even want to pay taxes on that building. So I can't imagine him paying for insurance, okay? So these are things to think about when you're arguing people down and when you're, trying to defend this man in regards to this school, okay? And why people are saying things that they're saying in regards to this. People are entitled to support him if this is what they want to do, right? If this is what they'd like to do, that they're entitled to that. But at the end of the day, this is exactly why people don't fuck with Umar, okay? It's because literally you can prove him wrong with this crazy stuff with, very simple things like this. Just looking into stuff and getting your own information in regards to things. So it just doesn't make sense to me, to keep going back and forth over Umar, right? But at the end of the day, hey, people are going to do what they do, and people are going to support this man regardless of what he does, and they're entitled to do so. I'm choosing not to. And I would appreciate it, as long as I'm choosing not to just have my choices on that, and people can reasonably understand why people don't, why people choose not to support this situation. So let me get into you guys' comments real quick. I see you guys are commenting, and I appreciate everybody in the building. Make sure everybody hits the like button on the way in. Okay, there's about 43 of you in the clouds. Make sure that you guys do hit that like button, guys. So let's see here. You said, especially for an establishment of an educational institution and its constant functionality, right? You said, Antonio Barnes, that's besides the sewer charges and property taxes. Yep. You said, exactly. The point of the program is to keep Wilmington from becoming Detroit. Make a change. Okay. You said, wow. You said, Antonio Barnes, you always got the info, bro. You said, and I don't know if he has an account with Delmarva or not, or if they are still letting him steal electricity up to this point to further probe. Well, you said to further prove that he's an agent. I don't think that Delmarva Power would care about him being an agent. I can tell you this, though. They ain't letting nobody steal electricity at all. Them niggas don't play them games at all, okay? They will definitely come down on the owners of that building. They come in, they'll remove the meters, they'll do all that stuff. They don't have no problem. They'll come in there and take stuff out of the building. They'll take their equipment out of there if they knew something like that was going on. What I think he's doing is when he goes in that building, I think he connects the electricity to a generator, and he goes from there. I think that's what he does. And it's clear that he's doing that because you can see the the orange cords going up and down the hallway, right? If there was actual electricity from the city, from the street, from the actual poles, then there would be no need to have any, electrical cords all throughout the place. So I think he's connected to generators when he's in there. But I absolutely don't think they care about him being an agent or not. You said, I agree, propane. You said propane, LOL. You said BB. You said make a change. Abandon is a hyperbole, but the folks that use it defend it like it's not. There are so many legit things to criticize Umar on. No need to stretch terms. Just saying. But the buildings are abandoned. Like they really are. I'm not sure why you think they're not. I'm not sure why you think there's a difference between vacant and abandoned. I don't know. Because they're both. Like, I guess. I don't know. But I don't think it's stretching anybody's terms. I literally think the buildings are abandoned. They are. There's nobody in those buildings. There's no business taking place in those buildings. Nobody lives there, so they're abandoned. He just bought some abandoned buildings. Like, that's what he did. You said, good morning, y'all. Hey, Stephanie Collins, I appreciate you being in the building. Shout out to you. You said Antonio Barnes, exactly. You said Steph. You said hey to her. You said, hi, get on the Cash App, right, girl? Get on your Cash App. You said, hey to Steph. Hey, Senior A. Jones. You said, loaded with poisonous fumes and black mold. Exactly. All that black mold and stuff in there. They said, you got to cover that shit up. You said, where did they put that generator? I don't know. I'm not there to see when he's doing that. But it's not hard to get a generator and connect that. And, generators are different sizes, too. You don't have to have a big-ass generator. There's generators you can bring inside, all kinds of stuff if you want to do a quick, small task. It's not like he'd be showing the whole building, right? You just kind of see him walking down one hallway, going into certain rooms and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to put a generator at the front door or bring a generator even inside the building and connect that to some orange cords and then turn on those lights. It wouldn't be hard to do that. You said propane, Antonio Barnes. When Umar uses the excuse, Nike, Gucci, Burger King, etc., didn't start off small, so why should we, FDMG? But all those companies started off small, right? Right. You said that building is listed as a money transfer service on Google if you enter the address in the search engine function, and Jermaine Shoemake is listed as an actor on Wikipedia as well. Makes sense. You know what? He said that makes sense. He said if the taxes are on a payment plan and he's current, I don't know what your question was with that. I'm sorry. You said, why are folks still saying stuff about the taxes? Well, I don't know if that's actually current or not. I'd have to look at that to know that. But yeah, either way, it's irrelevant. The bottom line is that's kind of irrelevant to what we're talking about regarding these windows and regarding whether he should have insurance on this building. Like these are things like keeping it real that should 100% be in place by this point and should be working. And, we shouldn't be questioning whether or not he has insurance and why he doesn't. The building should be in better condition so that he can have insurance, so that things like this happen, he can actually have his insurance company pay for it and not telling us to get on it, to get on the Cash App. You said those companies had viable personnel and resources around them in the initial startup. Jermaine Shoemake just has himself and Sharon Thomas as of right now. I don't even know who Sharon Thomas is, but okay. You said, is there a time limit for him to fix it up? I'm surprised the city hasn't confiscated those buildings due to health and safety hygiene reasons. The buildings kind of sit on a block by itself, right? There's not really anything. I mean, there's other things around, but it's not on the same block. So it's not like there's a house connected. Like, so for instance, let me show you guys. Let's do a real quick tour of this real quick. Hold on real quick, guys. Bear with me just a moment. While we do that. Hold on, guys. All right, so we're going to go to the address, and let me share my screen. Then I can kind of take you guys around the city a little bit. Well, not around the city, but right around that part. That way you guys can see for yourselves just kind of how things are. So right now we're standing directly in front of FDMG, okay? And we're going to just kind of use Google Maps to go up the street. So right this way, we're going to go this way first because I wanted you guys to see some of the daycares in the area, okay? So right over here, there is a childcare place right here, okay? This one, actually, no, this is a community center. So this is a community center right here, all right? And a lot of kids go there and do different things. On one of these screens, you'll see kids playing outside. Yeah, here you go, right here. So you can see like kids over here just kind of playing right here, okay? So this is right here on Pine Street. That is actually a community center right there, okay? That used to be old probation and parole office right here. This used to, well, yeah, a little bit further down. Right there was the old probation and parole office right there. Now, I'm not sure what's in that building right here. But over here is a daycare, okay? So right here, this is a child care center. That's been there for years. And she's, actually it was owned by somebody else before that. And now it's a very reputable child care center that's there. And that's been there for a long time. About around this corner right here on Jessup Street, this is a DuPont Pediatrics. My kids all went to that doctor's office, and everybody's kids in the city of Wilmington have been to this office, okay, pretty much. So that's DuPont's. They take care of everybody's kids in the city. This right here is the Health and Social Services. So any kind of resources and stuff that you would need for such as food, clothing, shelter, stuff like that, you can get right out of this building. Over here across the street is the food distribution center, as well as a clothing distribution center. And this is the biggest Delaware distribution center in the state of Delaware. Okay. That is literally right around the corner from the school. Let's go ahead and go up Jessup back to Vandiver. I'm going to go right around this corner right here. Hold on, let me get to Vandiver. Even up here, even further, there's other daycares up Jessup Street and other parts of the city. Down here, Vandiver, there's a Job Corps down there, and there's some other stuff down here. And then over this way is, like I said, this is the Northeast State Service Center. That is the social services. Keep going down, Vandiver, right here. This is some of the newer houses that they're building around this part of the city. Okay, so here is some new houses. This used to be, it used to be a place called Walt's Chicken, right? Walt's Flavor Crisp. That shit used to be fucked up, and it was like a lot of rats and stuff around there. But they have literally gentrified this area, so they have rebuilt this stuff right here. Those are all new houses. Over here, this was new houses as well. These houses were built up a few years ago. They kind of got messed up when this church that used to be right here got blown up a few years ago. Okay. When that church got blown up, those houses kind of got messed up, but they have changed a lot of stuff. So the crime rate is not the way it used to be around here. Okay. It used to be fucked up down here, but it's not like it used to be. Here go that liquor store I was telling y'all about. That's literally around the corner from the school. Okay. And then up further, there's even more daycares and more other things up here. Okay. So there's daycare centers everywhere. And there's also a daycare right here. So this is an ARC Learning Center right here. This is kind of more of a learning center. It is a day program. And it also has like some other programs in there as well. So that's another resource literally right here by FDMG. And this, again, we're going right back to where FDMG is. This is the gym building right here that we're next to. Okay, so that's the gym, guys. That's the gym. All right, the HVAC is on the other side of that. So the HVAC is like literally directly, like where we're standing right here, it would be on the other side of the building. Okay, and then this is the high school over here. All right, so that's the high school. And then that's the building. Come back down, okay? And that's the high school. This is the junior high school right here. So this is where those windows are, okay? And I think there's some other windows on this side. So this is why you were able to see the gym where he's claiming one of these windows was broken. So it would be one of these windows he's talking about that's broken, probably this one, okay? That's broken out. And that is facing the gym. So that's where he was standing at when he was recording. Here go the rock right here. You guys can see the rock. The rock is in front of the high school. Okay, so that's where the rock is. And then if you keep going down back here, I'm going to show y'all something back here. And it's funny because if you go down on Google Maps back here, you're going to see something that's going to be very funny. Now, y'all see Google Maps be picking up a lot of shit, okay? This is FDMG Schools High School. You can see people hanging out on the high school, right, on this abandoned building. You can see that this is not an occupied building. This is not something, that happens all the time. And this was a video that was made August of 2019. So, yeah, all right. This is what's going on with FDMG, all right? And this is people be hanging out over there. They be smoking their little blunts and stuff and whatever. But anyway, we're going to go back here real quick because back here is where the Boys and Girls Club is, okay? Everybody's kids have been to this place too. This is the Fletcher Brown Boys and Girls Club. It is a very well-known place in the city. Kids who are adults now have been, part of this program here. This is a very well-known program in the city. So, that's a spot right here. And like I said, this is Fletcher Brown. So let me show you so that I know what I'm talking about. Boom, Fletcher Brown Boys and Girls Club. Okay. So yes, everybody knows about that. It's not, everybody knows about that place, but this is where and why I showed y'all that there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of stuff going on by FDMG. FDMG is not some place that's sitting in some real crazy, deranged part of town. And this right here is kind of like the rest of the occupants of the city on 17th Street, not Dr. Papa Boulevard and all this other bullshit he claims. This is kind of what it looks like over here. Back here, guys, okay? Over here, like beyond those trees, there's a river, okay? And that river is what has been polluted by the DuPont companies from back in the day when they used to dump a bunch of stuff throughout the city and throughout Delaware, which has the Department of Natural Resources, has those places flagged now as hazard zones, okay? Because their chemicals, they used to make stuff for the war, and the DuPonts did at their factories, and they used to dump the chemicals and stuff right in the Brandywine River, and that is where that river's at. So that is the reason why this place is considered hazardous. It's not necessarily because it's really hazardous. It's just because the Department of Natural Resources has claimed it to be such because of what was going on with the DuPonts. And that is not the only place in the city. That's not even the only place in Delaware that the DuPonts have done this. And because they got so much money, nobody's really saying nothing about it. But yeah, I just wanted to give y'all a quick tour of that area, just so you guys can kind of have more of an understanding of what it looks like around there, and what the environment is like, and what other resources are around there, and how many people come around that area on a regular basis, right? It's not an abandoned area. It's just that building, okay? So yeah, definitely an abandoned place. You said, so I will say this, the city does generally give times on stuff like that, but it's usually because that building is connected to another building, right? So they want to prevent that mold or something from spreading somewhere else or whatever the case may be. I think that's the reason why they're not pressing the issue with him, because of where the buildings are located, like kind of where they are and how nobody else is connected to these buildings kind of per se. So I don't know if it would really affect these other buildings per se. So I don't know. That's a good question, though. You said if Umar ever opens, he'll be sued by the end of the first year for some some form of discrimination or sexism or something. Absolutely. Just based off of how he wants to open the school and what he wants to be involved with, right? And how he wants to get this done. So yeah, I absolutely agree. You said an ancillary clout chasers around him that will use his name and controversy to their benefit when it comes to speaking engagements, podcasts, and events he attends. Mm-hmm. You said Antonio, well said. Yeah. Hey, Mikey, I appreciate you being in the building. Appreciate you. You said we'll never pass inspection. No, that building is not anywhere close to occupancy or inspection passing at all. You said, where did he put that generator, though? And who supplies the generator with diesel on a regular basis? So you do know that some generators are battery operated as well. I don't know. Maybe you got to look into generators, right? I had a problem at my house one time with the electric where I did have to have a generator in there so that we can get some things done. And it wasn't diesel that I used at all, right? I used batteries on that generator. So that could be done, and there's different types of generators. And I don't want to argue with you, Antonio, but at the end of the day, you can just go look that stuff up, okay? You said, yes, sounds like a generator. Exactly. You said, Riz, good morning. You said, I can definitely say that he has an accomplice in the neighborhood. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe he could. You said abandoned, having been deserted or left. You said vacant, of a place not occupied, empty. Okay, well, I guess those are word salad, word semantics, but at the end of the day, he's not occupying the building, right? And I think that's the ultimate issue, is that the building is not occupied and it's not in a place to be occupied at this point. You said, Lord, not the generator narrative again, LOL. You say, yeah, he only shows a couple of rooms in the same hallway. Exactly. And then there's always this orange cord going down the hallway. So that's why I would think that he's using a generator. You said they're going to come out. They're going to come out the PlayStation 7 by the time Umar finishes FDMG. I'm saying they're going to have PlayStation 20 by then. Okay. Hey, ex-Freedman. You said, hey, beautiful Bernice. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, Riz Lyricist, you laughed. You said, it's a narrative now. I mean, if that address doesn't have an active account with Delmarva, where is he getting the electricity from? Exactly. But I don't think that anybody is connecting him to their house. Like, I don't think any of these places around, I just showed you guys, the neighborhood. None of these buildings are even close enough for them to do something like that. He would literally need to have a generator there. And that wouldn't be hard to do. You said, to be fair, the property is not abandoned because the property has an owner. The property is on the vacant property list. Okay, so I see what you guys are saying in regards to that. But ultimately speaking, guys, like, I think we're on the same page in regards to the fact that this place is vacant, okay? And he cannot occupy this place at this time because it's not ready, according to license and inspection. Hey, ex-Freedman says, at Make a Change, what's up? Keep putting the pressure on those frauds, okay? You said, oh, okay. Like you said, either Delmarva is lying, the people that say they called Delmarva are lying about asking about the specific property with an active account, or he magically managed to get another electric company, which would be very magical. And I would love to hear from him on who that is, because everybody in Delaware is trying to get the heck up out of Delmarva Power's ass, okay? Nobody want to fuck with them, like in Delaware. Now, they have electricity in New Jersey. They have electricity in Maryland as well, and parts of Virginia as well. But Delmarva ain't shit in Delaware because they literally own everything. They own all the power lines. They own all the gas lines. They own everything. And so they regulate all their prices on that. And there's nobody but the fucking Public Service Commission to regulate them. And they barely do anything because most people don't even go to the meetings. They don't go out there and say anything, or they don't have time to get out there. But if you ever get time to get out there, you should, because Delmarva is something else when it comes to electric here in Delaware. You said to muscle out the monopoly Delmarva has on that region we don't know about. Right. And the thing about New Jersey, the thing about Maryland and Virginia, they have competition there. Like there's other electric companies that they have to compete with. So somebody might not fuck with Delmarva over there. So the prices are much lower in those places. But Delaware, child, your electric bill be high as shit. They don't give a fuck, especially in the city of Wilmington. Especially like my electric is much lower because I don't live in the city, but it's still high, right? But it's not like it is in the city, and it's really because in the city a lot of those lines and power lines, especially the gas lines, they're older. They're really old, and so you just get a lot of leaks and a lot of stuff going on up there. It's just crazy, but yeah, Delmarva ain't shit. You said, AB, did you call to validate this yourself? You say, yeah, but not recently. Yeah, I haven't heard anybody call Delmarva in a long time in regards to that place. You said that's good. Pics on maps can be old though. Yeah, but well, I've been around the area recently. So I live in Delaware, and I go into the city sometimes, and I go around that area. And I just recently was around there. Nothing has changed about that area. Those things are very, very much the same. All those buildings I just showed you guys are all still the same. The only thing that has changed about FDMG as far as what it looks like right now is literally the boards were off the windows, and that Marcus Garvey thing, that whole mural is painted on the gym now. That's the only difference in what the buildings look like. So yeah, it still looks exactly like that. As a matter of fact, I can go around there one day and I'll just turn the camera on and I'll show you guys what it looks like around there. You said just ask about the address, but I'm the only that called over a lengthy period of time about the property having an active account with Delmarva since 21. You said I'm not. You said I'm not. You said the area already has a community and child care center, 100%. Yep, there's several of them, as you guys can see. You said, AB, do you know that there's a 6K credit on Delmarva Power on the Delmarva account for that property? But let me be quiet. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I can take a look. I'll call them one day and just ask them. You said, hey, only one. You said, chat lives matter, make a change. That makes sense. The building is listed to an owner who is paying the taxes on a payment plan. So yeah, it's on a vacant list because there's no CO. It's not abandoned. Okay, but yeah, either way, he's not ready to occupy. You said, okay. That's why I asked if he has one and where the generator was, make a change. You said, nice flats. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are decent around there. You said, still doesn't explain why he has 14K plus in other unpaid utility bills where the vacant property taxes not being paid, but explains him overpaying on the school district taxes for the small building, though. Mm-hmm. You said, looks peaceful. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as people might think it is. Like I said, it used to be really fucked up, especially there around that corner on Pine Street. That was fucked up. A lot of niggas been killed around there. But because of what's happened in the past with a lot of stuff, they literally have tried to gentrify that neighborhood. And they're doing their damnedest to do that. And yeah, it's not like it used to be. He said, by a tune of over 9K plus, I think. He said, Antonio Barnes, Umar probably bought a semi-small generator that quite and can't have it locked in a small room and can have it locked in a small room. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like this big ass, diesel powered generator. A generator can be ran with batteries, really. It can. He said, doesn't explain why he doesn't have any permits pulled for new electricians to finish the 100K plus for electrical rewiring and troubleshooting working that needs to be done either. Exactly. You said the infamous rock, right? You said, I bet the city is planning to build something new at FDMG. They may be. They very well may be, but they probably don't really care because nobody, like I said, it sits by itself. You said, damn shame. And there's a lot of other vacant properties and buildings in the city that have sat there for years and they don't do shit about it. You said that rock will live in infamy, LOL. Okay. You said he doesn't give a damn about the big building at all. At all. You said Muslim, all bail the eternal rock. Okay. All hail the eternal rock. Exactly. Antonio, you said it looks like a regeneration area, gentrification. Mm-hmm. You said Muslim, all hail the eternal rock. You said Antonio Barnes, he should sell that big building quick like yesterday. Somebody had offered him some money for it too, and he just said no. He said no. But there was an investor that had came in and wanted to offer him, I think it was like $1 million or something like that. Or he said something like that, but nothing ever happened. You said weed and seed area too, toxic shells. Yep. So I explained the weed and seed thing. I explained what happened with DNREC, with Delmar, with Department of Natural Resources, and what specific places in the city they have that they have recorded as, toxic waste areas that the DuPonts wasted. Okay. You said, right, Muslim, he should and reinvest. If the city takes those buildings, he'll lose everything. And that's why I think he should just sell them. You said, Riz Lyricist, all FDNG employees must salute the rock going to and from work. Umar is going to put it in their contracts. You said, Muslim, the question you have to ask is, why would K12 pay over $1 million for a property to sell it later, selling for $400K 2 years later? I don't know. Good question. You say he could at the people that donated loss. You said, great commentary. Thank you. I appreciate that, the vegan athlete, and I appreciate you coming in the building. You said, Muslim, someone is going to live stream that if it ever happens. And guys, we are going to get into The Godfather in just a second. I may have to make that a 2-part series because this is a pretty long video. This turned into a lot with Jermaine Shoemake over here. You said, I think whoever sponsored Jermaine Shoemake got him that dealt for 400K, got him the deal for 400K to repurpose those buildings. You said Umar is only saying that, but the letter he sent to the government saying he lists that he will have white teachers and students. Wow, that's crazy. You said deal. You said, right, Antonio, the people lose their investments. You said, I'm thinking it was the owner of the Boys and Girls Club that is right behind the Trap House Bandos that got him that deal. I don't know about that. I wouldn't have any way of knowing that. You said, make a change. I don't know how you would have any way of knowing that either. You said, make a change. I can think of a couple of reasons. The buildings need too much work to get it up to par. Absolutely. You said, LOL, a 2-word salad. You said, Umar is just saying that the document he sent to the government, he says, will have white students and teachers. Okay, yeah, definitely. He has to, because they're not going to let him do that shit. You said, Riz says, LOL. You said, the man had master keys to the whole property until Jermaine Shoemake got the locks changed. Okay. But that doesn't mean that, it could be, like I said, kind of about the area, right? Everybody kind of looks out for each other around there. So it could have been just simply because, he came in with such a great idea. And because the Fletcher Brown Boys and Girls Club is so well known in the community, we often do work with them. We do stuff with the kids there, and all kinds of stuff. It very well may be that they were like, yeah, we're going to get in on this project. We're going to help you. We're going to look out for you. So anything you need, give us a key. We'll go ahead and make sure everything's straight. And then, they stopped fucking with him when they realized that Umar was like a fucking cash cow and that he wasn't doing anything for the community, right? He wasn't getting involved with the actual community, getting involved with the kids. So yeah, of course he probably changed the locks, so they probably stopped fucking with him, or they probably started telling on him, or whatever. I can go around there and ask. I can go around there and get nosy, real quick, and just start asking a couple of questions. But yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. I've just never wanted to really have a conversation with them about it. But I've been over around Fletcher Brown a lot because sometimes we give out book bags and stuff over there, or we'll bring lunch and stuff for the kids and just do different things. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on in the community that Umar is not involved with. And that's probably why they stopped fucking with him, to be honest. You said, hey to X Friedman. You said they were working together. Remember when Jermaine Shoemake first purchased the buildings? Yeah, so like I said, they probably were. But, once they realized, like I said, Fletcher Brown and the other Boys and Girls Clubs in the city, they are very reputable. So, they're not going to stay in bed with somebody who's not. And I could understand why. You said Muslim. Yes, he still can't sell it. You said, wow, Muslim. You said, if there are any other companies that sell electricity, Why is him not having an account with Delmarva considered evidence? There aren't any other companies in the city of Wilmington where you can get electricity. In New Jersey and in Maryland and in Virginia, you can get electricity through other companies. Other parts of Delaware, like the city of Newark, right? Not Newark, the town, but the city of Newark, where like the municipality. Also, I believe Dover, the city of Dover, and probably further south in southern Delaware, you can get other companies. They have independent electric companies, but the gas is owned by Delmarva Power, and you're going to get your gas through them. Also, in the city of Wilmington, and like I said, the majority of the state of Delaware, Delmarva Power has the full monopoly of this. There is no other companies that compete with them at all. So I don't know if you misunderstood that, but that's what's going on with that. Delmarva Power is the only company that you can get electricity through in the city of Wilmington. There is no other companies there. They do have these little companies that'll come around and say, hey, you know, we're going to sell you electricity. So, you know, you can sign up through us and you can try to do that. But honey, Delmarva is still going to be sending you your bill. Delmarva is still going to be in charge. And they are basically just buying prepaid electric from Delmarva and then reselling it to you. That's literally what they do. And there's only a couple of them. And then it turns out after you do that, because everybody in Delaware fell for that. I did. Everybody fell for that at first. But after you do it for like 6 months, literally your bill gets higher than it would be with Delmarva. So you end up you might as well just deal with Delmarva. But shout out to you for that question, because I think that's good to actually make that clear, right? That there are no other companies that you can compete with for electricity. So he would have to have his account through Delmarva Power. You said, you just laugh. Everybody's laughing. You said, Riz Lyris, salute. You said, Muslims, salute, Grand Rising. You said, FDMG powered by Black Power, quite hating. Quit hating. You said, living life to the fullest, salute, Grand Rising. You said, Mikey, salute, Grand Rising. You said, Grand Rising CE. You said, chat lives powered by Vibranium. All right. You said, chat lives matter, salute, peace and blessings. He said, make a change. I got to go watch that movie one of these days. You know it. You said, got to go make some donuts. Have a great day, Miss T. Pre and chat room. I appreciate you coming in the building, Miss Beautiful Bernice. Guys, we are about to get into this Derell'S stuff, but I am really trying to get through y'all comments because there's so many of them, and there's some great comments in here. You said, conscious energy, peace, bro. You said, chat lives, I have not watched it. You said, make a change, chat lives, LMAO. You said, I bet those HVAC units have been stripped by now. Possibly. Like I said, I haven't paid attention to it since I went and saw it the last time when I verified if the HVAC was even connected. And I was able to verify that there was a new HVAC installed, but it was installed on the gym. So that little building I showed you guys, that was the gym. It was installed on that. It's not installed on where the students are supposed to be, which would be inside the buildings for the schools. It's not installed anywhere over there. So he would have to have a separate HVAC unit for that building, as well as the other one across the street. Okay. And yeah, so far he's making excuses on this whole HVAC and what's going on with that. He's telling somebody out here that, you know, hey, he's waiting on some part and that part won't be installed and the technicians won't install it until April and all this other crazy stuff. So listen, at the end of the day, he's still lying about this HVAC too. Okay, that's just the bottom line. And we're gonna stop pretending with Umar, you know, and stop playing with him because yeah, like you said, I'm pretty sure that unit has been stripped or something's going on with it, right? You know, it's not working. It wasn't installed properly. I don't know. You know, it could be anything going on with that. You said make a change. The sector replace Netflix and the movies. Okay. Word, it did. You said, oh man, Jermaine Shoemake lied to the State Department of Education about having white instructors and students. Child. You said, why would he have master keys to the property? Well, because Umar is not usually there, right? Like when they were, when he first got the property, I could see why he would give one of the other community centers around there such a thing, because he's not there all the time, right? He's not able to kind of look out. And like I said, in that city, people look out for each other. It's very family oriented, right? There's a lot of small families, generations and upon generations of people that have all lived in the same house, all lived in the same area for years. Everybody knows everybody by name, right? And that kind of thing. It's a very small town. So, like I said, it wouldn't be hard to, be speaking to your neighbors, and your neighbors may have a key to something, or your neighbors may know, something, because, they're looking out for something, and them looking out for your property, they're also looking out for theirs, So I could see absolutely why he would have master keys. You said no WPs are going to pay for their kids to go there. Okay, I'm just saying. You said Jermaine Shoemake only did something like that for that particular person. You said, I'm saying he had to put in a good word for Jermaine Shoemake to get those properties right in front of the property he is the owner of, T-Pre, for so cheap. Okay, I see what you're saying. It's possible, maybe. I don't know. I mean, money talks. So, well, if somebody's going to sell it, they're going to sell it. And you offering the money, they're going to take it, right? But I hear what you're saying. That's possible. I think these are just kind of speculations, And there's nothing wrong with that. We out here speculating today on FDMG and what's coming on with that, because there's just so much crap. And you don't know what to believe and what not to believe. And we got to kind of decipher all this, right? And figure all this shit out, because it really don't make no sense what he be saying when he's saying one thing one day and something another. You say, yeah, I'm in Maryland and have PEPCO for electricity. Exactly. So, yeah, my pops used to live in Jersey. Well, I'm from Jersey. And we had different, it was Atlantic Electric. And also, well, Delmarva is now Atlantic Electric up there, but they have other, electric companies as well. But Delaware is straight up Delmarva Power. Like, you ain't getting that now. He said, Black Lounge Divine, Umar didn't want any help from the Boys and Girls Club in the same way he turned down advice from Lord Jamar's brother. Exactly, Muslim. Because that would, see, working with Fletcher Brown, right? Working with Fletcher Brown Boys and Girls Club, or even the DuPont Pediatrics, or even any of those other spaces, which is why, well, I'll get into that another day. But anyway, and working with any of those other places would put him in the light of the city, and would cause him to have to do stuff, right? It would force him to have to actually do some stuff. See, online, he can be whatever he wants to y'all, but here in the city, like, he right here in our face. So, no, he would have to, like, actually do some things, right? And put some things in order properly, if he was to be working with people in the city. So, yeah, that's most definitely probably what's going on there, right? That, the Boys and Girls Club kind of turned their backs because he ain't doing shit in the city. And I told y'all, I do a lot of community work in the city, and he don't be out there. I don't never see Umar out there. But you see me, you see my my organization. You see other organizations out there giving out book bags and doing stuff like that. Like I said, we're about to do an Easter thing. We're also doing the book bags this year. We do hat, scarves, and gloves giveaways every year. All kinds of stuff. We do that shit everywhere, right? Not only just in the city of Wilmington, but we would be in Philly doing that shit too. So, like I said, this happens all the time. And he's not involved in any of this. I never see Umar in anything. Now, I'm saying I don't know. I could be wrong about what's going on in Philly, right? He could very well be doing this stuff in Philly, and I don't know it, because Philly is a huge place, right? And so there's a lot of intricate parts of Philly, that I may be in or may not be in. And so, he could very well be out there doing stuff like that. But in Delaware, I know for a fact he's not out here in the city doing anything. He said Umar doesn't understand that he changed the model that limits his enrollment. Originally, it was going to be a boarding school. Now that it's not, it limits enrollments. Yes. And he would have had to have other things in place for it to be a boarding school too, for it to be, you know, a place that could be a residence, partial residence, right? So there's so many things that would come with this project. And like I said, I love the project. I think it would be great if somebody really was trying to do it, but it just seems like he's not. I mean, that's what it seems like. It seems like it's a money grab. Could be wrong, but that's the way it seems. He said, President CE, he said, FDMG might be powered by the FDMG donors running on man hamster wheels in the basement. Quit hating T-Free. I love my loungers, y'all. Make sure y'all hitting that like button, guys. You said he has a fence around the HVAC. Look at the video you just showed with the broken window. Oh, okay. Let me take a look at that. Yeah. I'll take a look at it later because right now I'm trying to get to Derell'S show, guys. We are almost 2 hours into this video, and I haven't even gotten to any of the stuff that I want to talk about regarding Emmy and regarding the dungeons. Okay, you said Black Lounge Divine chat reading ends here. Sorry, folks, we're going to have to move on. Okay, yes, we're moving on because y'all are just going in and in and in, and there's still a whole lot happening here in this chat. Let me get to the bottom one. You say he goes live. Hey, ZZ Top 911. You say he goes live with everything. That's how you know nothing is being done. The white, quote, white contractors were never viewed. He's definitely not working with any youth organizations, or we would know. Absolutely. I know I would know for a fact, right? And yeah, he's definitely not doing that. Final comment, and then we're going to get into a quick break so that we can get right into Derell'S show. You said Jermaine Shoemake could have gave a trusted employee or business partner in his fake nonprofit organization with master keys while he is traveling around the country and outside of it. All right, so listen, guys. Listen, Linda, okay? I want to get into Derell'S show and his conversation with Emmy the other day. He had a really great conversation with this young lady in regards to what goes on with these dungeons, okay? What is happening with the sex industry up in the dungeons, and what's really to expect from such a thing, okay? Now, we know that this chick right here, Breaking the Culture of Dungeons, okay, has told us all types of stories in regards to what really goes on at dungeons, okay, and what she's involved with and what she claimed I would be involved with as a quote-unquote independent person coming into the dungeon with her, who is an employee of the dungeon, okay? So she made that clear that she is an employee of the dungeon and that I would be an independent contractor. Y'all remember these conversations because she was on a campaign going from sector to sector, different places, trying to sell and spin this narrative, okay? So yes, she claimed that she is working for the dungeon and that she would be an actual employee of the dungeon and that I would be an independent contractor coming in under her, okay? So none of that ever made sense to me, but we're going to get into this now and what Emmy was talking about. But before we do, okay, before we do, all right, I want you guys, as you guys see, should be still a poll in the chat where you can go ahead and say who got pimped the most. Was it Scary Ann who got pimped by Poton? We have already established the fact that Scary Ann is in fact a hoe, okay, that she got pimped the hardest in the sector by Photon, okay, by giving him $500 to suck his dick, okay, along with some other cash that she was doing. But we're going to bypass that and say whether or not she was pimped more than Breaking the Culture of Dungeons, okay? And why we're going to get into that is because we kind of hear what Emmy was saying in regards to Breaking the Culture, or not regards to Breaking the Culture, but in regards to the dungeons and how these things work, okay? And whether or not Breaking the Culture is this boss dominatrix chick like she's claiming, or is she actually being pimped the fuck out here, okay? So we're going to get into that. But before I get into that, guys, shout out to Pillsbury, okay, Officer Pillsbury. Listen, Linda, okay, he went in last night. Make sure y'all go over there and subscribe to Officer Pillsbury TV, one of my favorite loungers. He does come around. A lot of times he may sit in the clouds. Other times he may come through and watch the replay. But I love Pillsbury. That's my baby. And so, you know, we do support each other. So I don't always agree with everything he says, just like I'm sure he don't agree with everything I say, right? But There be some shit that he say that is absolutely hilarious, okay? And I am going to play a snippet of what he said today. And we'll do that right before we get into this Derell conversation, okay? So let me go ahead and share my screen on that. Bear with me just a moment, guys. Make sure that you guys, again, are hitting the like button on the way in. Make sure that you do subscribe and make sure that you share the show out as well. Bear with me again one moment while I share with you Pillsbury TV. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this crazy banner real quick so that you guys can see the bro. Okay. He is such a cute little self. We love our son Pillsbury. Okay. That's our baby out here. Shout out to Pillsbury TV. He is super funny, y'all, and always got us laughing out here. Okay. Sometimes you just got to crack up at this man. Okay. He is too funny, but we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what he was talking about last night on his show. What's up, Pills? I appreciate you, baby, for being in the building. Hey, Derell, I appreciate you coming in as well. All right, guys. And then before we do, and shout out to y'all, fair use, guys. I know y'all don't mind if I like laugh with y'all and joke with y'all, okay? But I am going to show y'all what this man said about Scary Air last night. Okay, so I got to get to that because he was talking about other people too. Hold on one second. Let me get to this. Oh, man, this nigga funny, man. Let me go ahead and put up the banner again.
Let's do the comparison. Let's do the Carrie Ann and Verla.
All right, hold on. Let me go back.
Let's do the comparison.
Hold on, guys. Hit the like, guys. It's coming through. I don't know why it's buffering.
Didn't want to turn around and goddamn diss me like over what though? Over what? Having my own opinion about something. The first time, second time over telling you not to call this black woman a bitch. But even a nigga, and then I fuck with Shorty. You know, and then you trying to put Carrie Ann. Let me tell you something. You trying to put Carrie Ann on me. Carrie Ann ain't nothing but another Verla Hatcher. Carrie Ann ain't nothing but another motherfucking Verla Hatcher. Like, let's keep it real. Let's do the comparison. Let's do the Carrie Ann and Verla. What do they both do? They both are willing to pay for the dick. They both are willing to pay for the dick. What else are they doing that they got in common? They both are willing to put the dick over their female friends. And they both did Nikki, nasty Nikki, goofy ass in over the next nigga. Shout out to Verla. You put in that good work, baby girl. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. You put in the good work though. But like, we gotta be honest with you. And they both is crazy as fuck. Like, we gotta keep it 100. They both crazy as shit. They got a lot of similarities. But at least goddamn Verla got a whole house or an apartment or whatever. This bitch Carrie Ann live in a one-room house. Like, let's just keep it 100. This bitch had a garage converted into a house, and all of a sudden, this bitch is talking to us like she got the best life in motherfucking the whole goddamn down south. Bitch, stop.
Now, shout out to that nigga for saying that, okay? Because you actually reminded me last night of some of the roasting that I've done to this bitch over a period of time, okay? Like, I done abandoned, like I told you, I done abandoned that bitch on the motherfucking battlefield a long time ago, okay? I done slapped that hoe a couple times and left that bitch wounded on the battlefield. That's why this bitch always got my motherfucking name in her mouth, okay? So, the bottom line is, this nigga was speaking facts and he was saying stuff that I fucking forgot about. And I want y'all to remember some of this shit because the sector never forgets, okay? The sector never forgets, okay? So again, we're gonna go ahead and see which one of these bitches is more of the pimpy out this bitch, okay?
Stop it. Bitch, stop it. You out here paying for the dick. You out here paying for the dick. And you ain't, listen, man, you ain't the only one. I'm not gonna blame you. There are a lot of females out here, even it's a lot of prostitutes out here that pay for the dick if you didn't know. There's a lot of prostitutes out here to pay for the dick.
Shout out to Pillsbury.
Like, what the fuck?
Shout out to Pillsbury. That nigga said, nigga, there's a lot of pimps. That nigga from Vegas, okay? He know what pimps and hoes look like, okay? Yes, honey. There's a lot of hoes that give they pimps they bread, okay? That makes you a whole fucking hoe out this bitch. All while you was trying to suck that nigga dick. Girl, bye.
They pay for the dick. Think about it now. Prostitutes got pimps, don't they? You know what I'm saying? Don't they got pimps? You know what I'm saying? I swear to God, you know what I'm saying? I could have had they got pimps, don't they? They paying for the dick out here. Prostitutes paying. And Carrie Ann is just another one. She a hoe that's paying for the dick. She tried to pay $500 to suck off Photon, you know. And then she want to say, I tried to jump on Photon band. I only been on Photon panel like 2 times as far as I can remember. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the fuck she talking about. At that time, I was still fucking with Remix. What the fuck is she talking?
I don't particularly think there's anything problem with the structure of her house. I actually think what she showed us, it was pretty decent. But what Pillsbury mentions in just a second is why he says what he says about her crib. Okay, so listen to this.
Because she know what it is, but she don't want to tell you how body bagged her goofy ass and she was thinking about leaving the sector. I don't know what the fuck. I think Shock and Rod taking it easy on you. Because shout out to Photon DNA, man. I fucks with Photon, man. And you know what? I'm going to say something about Photon.
Peace to Photon DNA. Peace to Brooklyn.
Niggas want to talk about we got to learn how to edit. We got to learn how to do this. We got to learn how to do that. Cool, though. I fuck with everybody. Everybody gonna have an opinion. And if I was right all the time, nigga, I'd be a fucking billionaire. So
y'all know that nigga
other people
y'all gotta stay with him.
We gotta learn how to do this. Man, Photons.
Y'all niggas smoke. Y'all know that nigga pills, smoke his weed. Okay, you gotta stay with him. Just stay with him, y'all.
Showed itself. He one of the best editors. He was one of the best roasters. One of the best. Man, it's a fucking crime how the sector didn't get Photon to 1,000 subs. On God, nigga. It should be a fucking crime.
On God.
How niggas couldn't get, like, how the fuck we couldn't get Photon 1,000 subs, man? This nigga, I'm talking about this nigga was Magic Johnson putting up triple W. Do everything, bro. But you know what I'm saying? But you know, yeah, he rocking on this new shit, man. Shout out to Photon, man. So, what was I saying? I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm smoking. Some of the best too. But yeah, like, what was I saying? Carrie Ann, yeah, this bitch live in a 1-room house out there down south. Like, come on, man, bitch. Like, let's, like, for real, nigga, you on the panel with a bitch that don't even wash her ass on any given Sunday,
last
nigga.
Night,
you can't even.
When I saw this video, that was the first time I noticed him having that all-seeing eye, that pitted on his neck. So I guess he in the Masons. I don't know. If you is, you is. I mean, I would assume if you wearing that you are, right?
Sit up, hug up, and watch football with the bitch, because her ass gonna be stinking, nigga. You know, God forbid, goddamn, something happened to her and she passed away or something. But if she do, the bitch is going straight to hell. You know what I'm saying? Jesus gonna be standing outside them pearly gates with soap and water for that bitch. She ain't gonna bring her funky ass in the house of the Lord smelling like that. Fact. Like, let's just keep it
now. I recall roasting that bitch for saying, and I wanted to look for the video, I just didn't have time, but I remember doing this video, it's probably like 6-7 months ago now, where I roasted this bitch because the bitch was online telling y'all that she takes a shower once a week, okay, and that she tries to bathe on Sundays to preserve her fucking skin. Okay, so that is why if I would say anything about her house, I would say the fucking house stinks. Okay, like the pussy is stanking. Her ass is fucking stanking in that bitch. Okay, and yeah, that's why her house probably smells bad. Now, the way it looks and what I saw, you know, what she showed of her kitchen, she showed, you know, where she sits down at the table, or a desk or whatever that is, where she sits on her couch, you know, and that kind of thing. Her house didn't look like the aesthetics of the house were bad. It didn't look like the house was in bad shape. You know, it looks much better than Shaquem house, if you're asking that. But the house probably stink like a motherfucker. So we're going to keep that a bean. And shout out to Pillsbury for reminding the bitch. Yeah, that bitch, you stink, bitch. Not only are you a hoe, but you a stinking hoe at that. Come on, let's go ahead.
Let's just keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, she don't even believe in God. Nigga, she don't believe in God. She don't believe in God, nigga. I don't believe in her. Fuck that bitch. Let's just keep it 100. So, yeah, man. So like I said, yeah, Derell, old goofy ass, man. Yeah, he bitten off a little more than his ass can chew right now. That's about all it is. Facts. He bitten off a little more than his ass can chew, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, he needs to stop because
so that was it for him. That was all I wanted to share regarding that situation because that was just too funny. Shout out to Pillsbury for that. Make sure that y'all hit that like button over there. Make sure y'all go and subscribe to Officer Pillsbury TV. Okay. That nigga's crazy. All right. And that's what I wanted to talk about and just kind of put that out there because, child, yeah, I absolutely remember when that bitch said that she only takes a bath once a motherfucking week, okay? And that's to preserve her skin and to keep her natural oils in her skin. That shit is nasty, okay? Nasty hoe shit. While you calling everybody a goddamn hoe and while you giving niggas $500 trying to suck their dick and they still ain't let you suck their goddamn dick. Now, like I said, we're going to go ahead and figure out which one of these bitches, okay, it got pimped the worst, okay? While we are listening in to The Godfather and his conversation with Emmy. Very good conversation that he had. We are going to break this down as much as I can today because we are already 2 hours and 13 minutes into the video. Not really trying to go into a 4 or 5 hour live stream today. I do got a couple things I got to do this afternoon. So, but I do want to at least go over this because there was a lot of parts in this video that Emmy had talked about and that Breaking the Culture had tried to explain to me a very different way. Okay. Now, let me explain to y'all why I've got this whole thumbnail up. Okay. Because both of these bitches are always talking about how somebody's shaped and how somebody looked and all this other stuff. But Breaking the Culture's weird ass being, looking like a fucking man. Let's see, her do some shit. And Scary Ann, since she's talking about how fine she is and how she looked better than every bitch in the sector and how, everybody got this busted body and all this stuff. But people ain't got no problem having, full-fledged and full screen photos around here that ain't photoshopped, okay? Don't have no problem putting they full-fledged bodies up here. What about you? What about you? Okay. So while you doing all these challenges, challenging Shaquem to, a test results and challenging him to see, your bank accounts and see all this other stuff. We don't care how much money you make, we don't care that you own your house. These are basic things that a 40-plus-year-old woman who doesn't have kids and isn't married should have, right? These are just basic things you should have. So, okay. But what about standing the fuck up? Hashtag that, right? Let's go ahead and stand up and let's do that fucking challenge since everybody is so concerned about what everybody's body looks like. Let's see how your body looks. Okay. Now, let's go from there. And we moving on. Now, let's go ahead and get into Derell's show. Again, make sure that y'all go over and subscribe to Coach D. Derell Spears. He is awesome out here, always giving that good information. I'm actually going to remove this banner real quick so that you guys can see his channel as well. Make sure that you guys are subscribed over to Coach D. Derell Spears, also D. Derell, The Sectors TV. Really great show that he had. I'm going to fast forward this part of it a little bit because it's his music. But make sure that y'all go over and also hit him up for the music because Derell always got that good music going on as well. Oh,
everybody wants to speak to Miss Emmy. Also, at the end of our discussion, towards the end.
For 10 years, starting off
Hold on, let me go back a little bit because I really don't want to miss any parts of this because, like I said, she says everything. She speaks on a lot of parts that I'm aware of. And I just want to give you guys the contrast to what she's saying and what Breaking the Culture has said. All right.
To us, and having a good time and talking about this. So at this point, I'm going to bring the lovely Miss Emmy. Hey, Queen, how you doing?
Hello, how are you tonight?
I am great. I am excellent. So once again, I am very, very excited about having this discussion with you. The sector is definitely wanting to hear this. That people such as my lady right here, the sexy toy lady, she's not one of those vanilla people. She's definitely one that loves, she does stuff about sex toys, and she's one that's, kind of likes to do a lot of different things outside of the typical range. We got some other ones in here that are definitely going to be wanting to ask questions and chop it up with you today. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Again, shout out to everybody in the Umar Johnson sector, anybody from the Black sectors that are in here. We are here to speak to Ms. Emmy, and she's going to give us, again, we're going to talk more in detail about the House of Dominatrix, House of Domination, the dungeons. We're going to talk about that process once again. I also would like to talk to her more about some of the specialized fetishes that she has engaged in. She talked a little bit about that towards the end of the last video. So let's go ahead and get it going. So before we start, Miss Emmy, can you once again introduce yourself to the sector?
Now, before she does that, I want you guys to get an understanding of some things that I'm aware of when it comes to dungeon work, when it comes to some other stuff, right? When it comes to that world altogether. Safety is usually the biggest importance to somebody who has been in the world and who has experience in the world, okay? It is a big thing, and it is something that you teach from the rip, okay? Also, a little bit of psychology is involved in this because you got to kind of know and understand and feel where people are coming from. You got to know, be able to read things and understand certain things, understand why people do stuff, what they, why they're involved in certain things and stuff like that. There's a lot that goes with being a Dom, okay? So if you're speaking from a Dom to another Dom, you can pick up on stuff that another Dom is not aware of, or you can pick up on things that, like they are kind of new to the game, okay? Or they're involved in some shady shit. Those are things that it would be easy for you to pick up if you're aware of a lot of things, okay? So I just wanted to kind of just say that and let you guys know that before we go on with the rest of the show. So let's go ahead and continue.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me tonight. I am from New York City. I've been living here for 13 years. My hometown is the DC, the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I have been in the sex work industry for 10 years, starting off with foot worship, and then continuing off with domination, and then escorting, exotic dancing, massages.
Okay, cool. Now, as we talk about,
so the fact that she is involved with all of those things, and she's been in this world for 10 years, I wanted to hear a little bit more about her approaches to her clients and stuff like that. And I was very impressed with the things that she said. So let's go ahead and just listen in on this. And again, this is fair use. And, if this isn't for everybody, there's some people who are just not going to be in agreement with this type of stuff. Understandable. But this is where we are at today. We are going to get into this because, like I said, we've had a lot of conversation over the past year in regards to dungeon work.
Shit, foot fetishes, the BDSM stuff. Now, you didn't touch on the massage stuff. So kind of talk a little bit about that.
And again, this is not for kids. So guys, if your kids are in the room, I'm going to need you to, go ahead and put the kids away. Go ahead and put the kids in the room, or, go ahead and close out the show or something. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. All right, let's go ahead and finish out.
Get to the massage things and what type of services that you kind of do along with that. What does that entail as far as you partaking?
So the massages, I've always been balancing off different ways of different gigs, right?
Okay.
Different ways of different income streams. And so I believe that I was doing the massages in conjunction with working in the House of Domination, and then also veering off into escorting.
Okay.
Because I just noticed that it was just kind of hard for some of the clients to kind of just relax.
Okay.
And a lot of the clients were during the afternoon.
Okay.
So they were on their lunch break or something like that. And you had to like relax them right away. So I worked better with the ones with the longer lunch breaks. So one of the ways that I would relax them was a massage and just like a full body. And then I would just do topless and then just some bikini pants on. And then, just keep it short and sweet. If they didn't want to go all the way, they didn't have to. We could leave it at the massage and special ending. It just made clients a lot more relaxed than maybe having the pressure to perform.
Okay. So pretty much, pretty much you learn to incorporate that.
So it's kind of important to get an understanding of the types of clients that come in to see her, right? So, or come into these dungeons, right? So, like she said, most of the clients would come in the afternoons. So they would be on their lunch break, right? So they would already be kind of worked up and kind of, going for the day. This is not something that they would just do in their evening time, because usually they're going home to their wives or their families or something like that. So these are executives. These are people that can actually pay for such things. And, these are people that have, they're police, they're judges, they're whatever. And they're on a lunch break or a quick break, and they're trying to get in here and get this done and then get up out of there. Okay. This is what's going on in the dungeons. All right. As opposed to a more relaxed environment where you're independent and this person has time to be doing this. You can plan such a thing, and you're kind of more in control yourself of what's going on as an independent in a situation like this, as opposed to working at a dungeon. So let's go ahead and keep going with that.
To kind of ease the anxiety of what they were going to do as far as more of the fetishes and the BDSM activities and so forth. And
or even seeing someone outside of their relationship, or being in a new city, or being nervous about tomorrow's speech, or for whatever reason, so it was, the massages were not part of the BDSM sessions. The massages were part of the escorting sessions. So the BDSM sessions were purely about domination. So there's the difference. There's night and day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of incorporated a multitude of services.
Right. That's why I explained that I've been in the sex industry for about 10 years.
So my question is, none of the massages were not done at the House of Dominatrix.
So the House of Domination was purely domination. If anyone was getting a massage, it would be me.
Yes.
Okay. Escorting and the sensual massages are on this side. And that's the day. That's the relaxation part. That's the let's just hang out part. Completely different from domination.
That was outside of the House of Domination.
That's correct.
Is what I'm saying. Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I'm trying to figure out, as you were saying it, like were you all just meeting at one location? So
a very important part right there, okay, that she explained was, in which I was trying to explain as well, but breaking the culture was trying to make it like, hey, I work at this House of Dominatrix, which, mind you guys, there's multiple ones. This is not, the one dominate. There's not just one place. There's multiple ones, okay? And she's going to talk about that a little bit in a minute. But ultimately, what Breaking the Culture was trying to say is that she works full-time at this House of Dominatrix, and that she sometimes brings in independent workers who will do their own things in their own independent world, okay, and will come into the house and work with her under the house. Okay, now y'all hear this. All right, so these are all separate. None of this stuff, none of the escorting stuff, none of the dates, none of the none of that stuff happens from the house itself. That happens separate from the house. Okay, so if you have like clients per se, okay, that are, you know, regular clients of yours, okay, then that means that that person is seeing you outside of the house when they are getting certain services from you. Okay. If they're getting dominatrix services from you, then they're getting those in the house, but everything else would be outside of the house. All right. So let's go ahead and keep that going. And that's with some houses.
Basically, you kind of did a pre-service like type situation. Then you would also do something else at the house of domination.
No. After, so I would have a massage session and then I would have a domination session, and those were night and day. Those were completely separate.
They were done in two different locations, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were doing it not the same location. They were separate locations.
Right.
Okay.
And I did a lot of the massages actually after I left the House of Domination, because the House of Domination is puts you into a mindset of dominance. So you're mostly focused upon your pleasure,
right.
But in the escorting, sensual, and when I started doing the massages and the escorting, it was different. You had to focus on what made me comfortable, what made the other person comfortable, or other people comfortable, whatever. So it was a completely different mindset. So I had to completely switch mindsets to actually go from, like, you know, phasing out of domination, going into massages, and then fully just immersing myself into massages.
Right, which would take time. And it also takes time to know your clients and which ones like what and don't like what, right? So, you know, there's just different parts to this. It's not something that just happens overnight, okay? It's not something that you just, you know, hey, I want you to come to do this with me, and everybody's just like, okay, and we just go. Like, you got to learn this client. You got to get to know this person, meet this person a couple of times, talk to them, kind of see where their temperament is, you know, and see if that is a person that you would even want to engage with like that. Okay. So that all makes sense to me. Now let's go ahead and keep going.
So
now, did you find any difficulty in transitioning your mindset, or it was pretty fluid to do so?
I was ready to go.
You were ready to go. Okay. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I was ready to leave. There's this thing called, because it can get pretty dark, you know. I just, you know, mentioned a few things on the BDSM list on the last programming. You know, it can get pretty dark. Like, there was blood play. We had a nursing room where we had scalpels. I didn't engage in that type of play, but the headmistress did. And people who were skilled in that type of knife play, blood play. But, and
it
also,
sounds like it hurts.
Well, you know, these people were just into penis pleasure type of ideal. And it can also get into slavery. Like, these are your living conditions, and you're going to be my in-house slave, and you're going to live here, but under these conditions. And then you have to do this for me and that. And then it can get into sex slavery as well, of course. And so it can get pretty dark. So, you know, I felt like I had immersed myself enough in that. The owners of the House of Domination were convinced that I was done as well, because I was just getting on their nerves. And so we were like, listen.
So what she's basically saying is, and I've even showed that with the kink list that Break of the Culture had sent me, right? that there's a lot of like dark energy and a lot of things that people are involved with in that industry that, you know, you got to know about. Okay. And here's the thing, just because that's in the industry doesn't mean you have to participate in it. Okay. You are in charge of anything and everything that you choose to participate in. So if you're involved in somebody pooping in somebody's face, that's because that's something you're choosing to get involved with. Okay. That's not, nobody's forcing anybody into that. None of that stuff in this industry, you know, if it's not, if you're not being trafficked, I'll say that. Now, if you're being trafficked, that's something different. That's, you know, that's a totally different crime. That's a different situation. But in this, where it is legal and, you know, professional, if those things are happening, that is something that those DOMs and those subs are willing to do. And everybody is not into that. This is why you got to know the person that you're involved with. Yes, she did leave the dungeon. We'll get into that in a moment. This is what why you got to know your subs. You got to know, you know, and get to know a person if you're going to be part of any kind of session like that. Okay. Because say, for instance, guys, I just said, oh yeah, breaking the culture, I'll be up there, let's go. And I just came up there and was like, I'll take $400 and we can split 2,500 and then we only get 40%, which we're about to get into in just a moment, y'all. Okay. But yeah, like this is what this chick was actually saying. All right. Now, Breaking the Culture also told me, and I showed you guys by email already, that Breaking the Culture told me that Brett gave her a number. Okay. He gave her an amount. Okay. I want y'all to keep all of that in mind while we are wondering who got pimped in this situation. Okay. Who got pimped the worst. Now, Breaking the Culture is the one that told me through email that her client, remind you, this is her client. She's telling the world, this is my client. This is her client. Okay. So that means she does independent work with this person outside of the dungeon. Okay. If this is her regular client and this person comes to see her all the time. Okay. That's number one. Number two, she said that that she was in, that she had been given a number and an amount of money that me and her would have, okay, and that this is what he was willing to pay. This is what she said, okay, which is what was like, it didn't make sense to me because why was he giving her a number whereas this wasn't going through the dungeon, right? I didn't understand if she was a worker at the dungeon, if she was a regular person who was employed at the dungeon, why would this person be offering her an amount of money if she wasn't trying to do this independently? Okay. That part never made sense to me. And she never answered that. She just kept saying she worked at the dungeon. She just kept saying that she worked there. And that was her, this was a, you know, it wasn't a full-time job, but this was her part-time employment. This is what she said. She never said either that she worked there full-time or that she worked there 8 hours a day. Okay. I want y'all to keep that in mind while we're listening to Emmy about these dungeons. Now, let's go ahead and continue.
About having a dominant kind of personality, they wanted you to be more conducive to what they can, I guess, manipulate or control per se, or
yes,
yeah.
They were interested in starting a cult. They were not interested. Yeah, they were not interested in proper employees.
Starting a cult, that's interesting. I'm just saying, is this a sex cult?
It can get pretty dark. It can get dark very quickly. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm ready for the balance to this.
Right.
So I'm ready to move into kind of like something that's more relaxed for both people. So, you know, I was just ready to get into that type of mindset. So I dove right into it. And, you know, I found out that, you know, I could also, you know, relax people. You know, a lot of people compliment me on my massages.
So it sounded like you enjoyed doing the massages, or they were more to your liking, or more relaxed situation per se, or?
It's more of a like no expectations type of situation. I don't have to overdo it. The other person doesn't have other person or people don't have to overdo it. Everybody could just relax. And wherever
Okay.
you want to, like move from there, then you can. Because, being in the BDSM world, I did pick up some things that I enjoyed and I left some things behind. So it's, now it's just like I'm more of like somebody that's experienced in bed that you can have over for a night or something like that.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So,
Mhm.
what would you say the percentage of guys that actually wanted to go full service was that like most of the time, half the time, or it all depends, or was it a regulars?
Wanted to go for what service?
Like you said, the massages they would make a decision on whether or not they would want to go all the way or not. Or
Oh,
yeah,
oh, the percentage I would say is usually about, I would say about 50-50.
50-50. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So and I would think where the guys kind of like how would you introduce that? Is it like they already know the services that can be provided, or you kind of make them
Yeah,
aware of
they
what's
already,
provided?
yes, they already know the service that's going to be provided. I usually post on a site called erosads.com. So it's erosads.com.
Okay.
And you just post some pictures on there, and you post the stage name, and you post the donation amount, and you provide a biography, and you say hello, and then they contact you. But the advertising can get pricey, but it's actually worth it. There's better quality clientele from there.
So she mentions another website as well that's been around for a long time. And also that's how that worked back in the day. Okay. So there were websites like that, but generally DOMs back in the day knew each other, and they knew through word of mouth who was safe, who wasn't. And then you could, go from there on whether you wanted that person to be a client of yours. Generally I was introduced to clients at events that I went to and stuff like that. And that's how I kind of got to know people and got into the world and doing those particular things. But I wasn't doing a lot of the sex stuff because I just wasn't into that. I just wasn't. But yeah, definitely I love the other things. There was some other stuff that I did. And maybe one day I'll do like a full story on some things that I've actually done. But yeah, I wasn't doing a lot of these things. But like I said, it would be up to you on what you choose to get involved with, how far you go. And trust me, a client will know ahead of time what you're willing to do. Okay. And there wouldn't be any way that anybody could force anything on you if you put safety first. So, like I said, this world depends on you. It's not anything, that anybody's forcing. It's not everybody doing the same things. But yeah, there's a lot more money depending on some things that you choose to do. That's the truth. That is fact.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the most part, the person that you are meeting is not necessarily someone you've already had some level of interaction before they come. It's not like it's just a person that you had blanket interaction with that comes about and wants a massage and etc.
That's correct. It's always wise to vet properly.
Okay.
There's a lot of predators out there.
Right.
That are looking for victims, and a woman's best chance at safety is preventative.
Right.
So I always insist on video chats before we meet.
Okay.
And also I exchange my well, if I'm having doubts, I will we can meet in public first as well. But it's kind of just decided over time. It's not decided in an instant, because that's where you can get in trouble.
Exactly. So this is why I was really hesitant with breaking the culture, and with that situation, because it's like she wanted to move along so fast and just, oh, can you be up here next weekend? And can you like, and I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, I need to get to know this man, right? I don't even know what he looks like. I don't know anything about him. I'm not about to just meet this man and, you know, I don't know what he's into. I don't know his temperament. I don't know anything about this man. All I know is what you're telling me, and I don't even really know you like that. You know what I mean? So let me get to know this person. Let me see if this is a person that I would even be willing to even, you know, hang out with and talk to. But it was the fact that she had asked me and told me these prices and stuff that, and then told me that she was a worker, like she actually was an employee of the dungeon. Why would this man be giving her a price? That whole price thing should be worked out through the dungeon. It didn't make sense that she would be telling me that unless she was trying to do this at a gentleman's club or, you know, somewhere like at a sex club somewhere. Okay. That is the only thing that would make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that she works in any reputable dungeon doing that. Now, I'm not saying that prostitution doesn't happen at some of these dungeons. Okay. But what she was talking about would still have went, the money part would have went through the dungeon, regardless of whether it was a shady dungeon or not. The money itself would have went through the owners. They would have got their cut, and then, you know, they would have let these bitches do whatever they do. Okay. This is exactly what Emmy ends up explaining. And this is the part that Breaking the Culture doesn't tell us, okay? Where she's out here acting like she getting all this money at the dungeon. And I don't know, honey. I think she just literally, Breaking the Culture, may have been invited to the dungeon to work with a real dom that works at the dungeon. And she worked there with her as an independent worker and did some work with her, the way that Breaking the Culture is trying to explain it. Because what she's saying is she'll go in and she'll do like a 2-hour session with, you know, somebody, and then she's leaving after that. You know, she get her money and then she's leaving. When in actuality, if you're an employee, you would be working a full 8-hour session there, a full 8 hours there. Now, you might not do 8-hour sessions. Your sessions might last 2 hours, but you're still there for the full 8 hours because you're getting paid as an employee. You're actually on the payroll. Okay. Now, what Emmy ends up explaining to us is that as an employee of the dungeon, you can, in fact, bring in somebody to work with you as an independent. Okay. But that person would, you know, have to come in, and the dom would have to, like, no, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. She explains that a person who is an employee of the dungeon cannot bring anybody in with them as an independent. Okay. The only ones who can bring somebody to the dungeon and bring somebody else to the dungeon with them, okay, is a person who is renting a space from the actual owners at the dungeon. So if you're renting a space from the owners at that dungeon, then that would make you an independent contractor. Okay, that would make you an independent person, a person who does this on your own. Okay, and then you're bringing somebody along to do a 1 or a 2 hour or 4 hour session with your clients. So this is what Emmy helps us to understand, while Breaking the Culture is trying to make it seem like she actually works for this dungeon when she clearly doesn't work for the dungeon. Clearly, Breaking the Culture is the one that's getting pimped out here. But we're going to go ahead and listen to the rest of this. Now, unless Breaking the Culture is really an employee at the dungeon, okay, then we're going to see what's going on out here, okay? We're going to see what's going on, because which one is it, Breaking?
So you're not doing immediate services per se?
No, I can't do that. I can't do same day services. I can't do next day services per se. Maybe, you know, there's always an overlap, a gap of 1 or 2 days before I actually meet the person, because I have to sleep on it.
Okay, you got to think about it. Make sure you're comfortable, and
Yeah.
you know, and also there's also like, is there any suspicion of like law enforcement or anything like that you're also making yourself aware of, or at
Oh, yes, they are. You know, it's funny because their attitude about the whole thing is, I do it, like they've confessed to me, you know, they're like, I do it, but when I'm at work, I apologize, but I have to, you know, I have to arrest
do your,
you.
your job per se.
Do their job. They're like, I'm so sorry because when I'm off work, I see escorts.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you know, because you kind of, you know, yeah, I've run into them a couple of times.
So I wanted
And
that to be clear too, because when you are doing independent work, right, and you're doing independent things, and this is your thing, this is what you do. If you are choosing to do sexual activity with your clients, okay, you are running the risk of going to fuck to jail. Like that's literally what's going to happen at some point if you are actually having sexual relations with your clients, okay? Now, there are multiple ways that you can do escorting without having any type of sex with any of your clients. There are multiple ways. You have to be very creative. You have to have the same, you have to have, your clients have to also be on the same type time. Okay. And which means that it takes time to vet your clients, get to know them, and see if they are on the same type of time as you. It's like building a relationship with somebody, right? Getting to know someone over time. If it turns out that there's red flags, turns out that there's things you don't like, you walk away, right? There's things you don't want to get involved with, things you're not engaging in, you walk away with that, right? If there's somebody, they come out from the rip and they're letting you know about these sexual experiences they want to have with you, and you know that's something you don't really want to do, then you're going to walk away from that situation, okay? And you particularly want to be careful. I ain't going to tell nobody who's grown out here what to do. If they're choosing to involve sex in their clients, and what they're doing with their clients, I ain't got shit to do with that. That is your business, your choice. But honey, you need to have, you got to be smart with anything that you're choosing to do. Okay, anything. So the bottom line is escorting can have prostitution involved in it. Okay, it can. It really can. But everybody who's escorting and doing various work in that industry is not having sex. Okay. And like I said, if you get a run in with the cops, right, with a situation like that, and they can prove that you were actually having some kind of sexual activity going on, you can be booked for prostitution. That's just what it is. Okay. So you want to be very careful with what you're doing if you decide to get into that world. And that's just what that is.
they're just kind of like apologetic because they're like, on my off time I do this, but I'm at work right now, so I have to take you in. I have to process you. So I'm just like, wow.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, that's understanding. Now, the next thing I want to kind of pivot back to the House of Domination per se. And I know the last time we spoke, we talked about the process of you being vetted, interviewed, trained, then able to provide whatever services, and then you create your kink list and all of those different things. Okay. So what I would like to talk to you about is the process of you like having a schedule or being approached by the I guess the owners about you being interested in, or you may want to call it. Like, what's that? Because the reason why I'm asking you this, because I'm comparing it to a situation that happened in this sector where there was a lot of controversy over how the information was exchanged and how a person turned down doing certain things. So I just wanted to see like what's the process of, let's say we get a client that sees your profile or whatever. Do they go through the owners? The owners talk to you about how does that work for you to decide?
Okay, so I think we're getting a little confused here because there's different methods of handling different parts of the sex industry.
Okay. Well, I'm speaking.
So what I was talking about previously, right before your question, I was talking about escorting. I was talking about massages and how I post on erosass.com independently.
Right. But yeah, I'm
That
talking
has
about yesterday.
nothing to do with the BDSM House of Domination. Nothing whatsoever.
Oh, yes, yesterday that had nothing to do with the BD. I'm speaking on what
So
was
today I'm talking about erosass.com, which is where I post my massages.
Okay.
That has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the House of Domination, because we posted mostly through a blog called Max Fish, which I did discuss previously. MAXFISCH or FISH, I'm not sure. But we mostly book through there. I didn't really get they decided where they booked me. When I left the House of Domination, I went independent. I can actually, if the establishment is comfortable for me, I can work in an establishment for a while. But I mostly work independently. And so when I work independently, I take care of all of my overhead.
Okay. So pretty much when you were working at the House of Dominatrix.
So in other words, if she decides to work at a dungeon like today, she would pay the dungeon ahead of time to book or rent a room for a session for her clients. Okay. So she can absolutely use the dungeons. She would just need to pay the owners of the dungeons to book a room. Okay. For her clients. All right. So let's go ahead and continue.
They booked it through a website or whatever, through them.
They would book it through them, or they would book it through, they would have to call the main line, and one of us would have to pretend not to be us. So if they called for me, once again, my name was Goddess Carmen, I would have to answer the phone as my stage name, Paris. So I would say, hello, this is Paris. And they would say, oh, I want to book a session with Goddess Carmen. And I would say, what an excellent choice. And then I would, take, what day and what time they wanted to come in and things like that. And everything was monitored through them. They didn't want people double crossing them per se. So, yeah.
So do y'all understand what she just said? Like, she made that very clear, that working in the dungeon as an employee of the dungeon before she left and became an independent worker, okay, while she was working at the dungeon, they would have to go through either a website to contact them to get a hold of the woman that they wanted to see, or they would have to call in to, to the main hotline to speak with, one of the doms there, and then set up an appointment to come and see one of these women, so that basically nobody's cutting throats with anybody. Okay. There's no money that this client would be offering to anybody or anything on the side, right? If they are going through the dungeon that this person works at, or that this person works for. Okay. Because this is what Breaking the Culture is saying. She's saying, I work at this dungeon. This is the dungeon I work at, and I can bring bitches in when I want to. And this bitch is an independent contractor. So, I'll just bring her in. And this client comes to see me at the dungeon. And I brought her in to come see this client and do all this crazy stuff in the dungeon with this client. Okay. Remember this story that Breaking the Culture said.
The reason why I'm asking this, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I want to make sure I'm straight with everything. But I'm glad you express it in a manner, because the way you express it sounds more professional, more clean, like as far as the process. Because the way other things were discussed, it was kind of muddy a little bit as far as how the exchanges work. So I'm actually glad you kind of explained it that way and defined exactly what was the difference from you being independent versus when you were doing things through them.
And keep in mind, this woman does not have a dog in this fight, honey. She don't know Breaking the Culture. She don't know who she is. She don't know anything about any of this stuff going on in this sector or any of this stuff. So she don't got no reason to make up nothing. She don't have any reason to have any bias, for what she's saying or anything. Now, just listen to what she says. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit in just a second, because I don't want to play the whole video. But I definitely wanted to go over many of these parts of things that she said, because it's very important for us to get full context of how this works. And then you can, come to your own conclusions on whether this hoe is lying to us or not, breaking the culture.
So I'm glad of that. So as we look forward through, let's talk about when you were really, really doing it, like, let's say, I guess, whatever, full time or, whatever, like, what would your schedule look like? Like, were you working 10, 12 hours, 24 hours a day, kind of get some rest in, but like, what was your schedule look like? It sounds like it was a pretty hectic schedule.
No, it wasn't a hectic schedule at all.
Okay.
I would as far as escorting, it would be no more than 4 hours a day.
Okay.
And as far as domination, it would be about 8 hours a day. So we were required to come in as a regular employee and then leave as an employee. So at least 8 hours a day. Okay. For about 5 days a week.
Okay.
And
now I want y'all to hear what she said. You were required as an employee to work 8 hours a day, at least 5 days a week. Okay. So that doesn't add up to, I just see my client whenever I feel like it. He comes and sees me at the dungeon. I just go into the dungeon. I go and let them know that I'm going to be in there for a couple hours with my client. And, I might bring somebody in with me, and, we're going to do some work in this room. And yeah, we're going to, he's already paying me and she got paid already. I gave her some money and we good. That doesn't sound like an employee. What she said is, if you're an employee at the dungeon, right, which was the difference between what Breaking the Culture said, the difference between her as an employee at the dungeon, which she said this on multiple platforms, including Conscious TV's platform, okay? An employee at the dungeon, the difference between that and an independent worker would be exactly what Emmy is explaining, that if an employee would work at the dungeon 8 hours a day, at least 5 days a week, that is a full-time 40-hour-a-week job, okay? So you wouldn't have time to do, unless you're super mom, you wouldn't have time to be a mom, to have another job working from home and all this other stuff if you have to do a full 8 hours in the dungeon, okay? You said Breaking clearly was the bad apple in the bunch at her dungeon, okay? Clearly, because it don't make sense how she could honestly say that, oh, well, no, I decide to go into the dungeon whenever I feel like it, and I can bring independent contractors, quote unquote, with me to the dungeon because I'm an employee of the dungeon, okay? So, I can bring them in and, then they can do all this work and they're going to be the ones doing all this nasty stuff because they're this independent contractor. This is the story that Breaking the Culture tried to explain. And now we have a person who has actually worked in one of these dungeons to tell you exactly how that works.
Then for massages, it would be no more than 3 hours a day.
Okay.
So I'm a really laid back, relaxed person. So anything that would place me into that hectic lifestyle, I would immediately cut out of my life. I don't live a hectic lifestyle. I refuse to. I see people running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and I refuse to do that. I've never had a hectic lifestyle.
Okay. So were there days that you had off? You had certain days off, or like how would you work 7 days a week, or?
So I would have at least 2 days off a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have at least 2 days off a week. Yeah.
Did you choose the same days, or just depending on your schedule, it was kind of rotating per se, or?
So let's put Breaking the Culture schedule together. Okay. Breaking the Culture being an employee at the dungeon. And mind you, this would have been last year in 2022, okay? Breaking the culture, being an employee at the dungeon, she would have had to put full 8-hour days into the dungeon, okay? She would have had to 5 days a week at the dungeon, okay? And she would have got 2 days off. So this whole idea of when me and her were trying to do this podcast and we were on the phone and on Zoom calls and different shit like that, and she's smoking and laughing and going out, and she's showing y'all on video that she's out doing different things and doing all this extra shit. Shouldn't she have been at the dungeon? Because if she's an employee of the dungeon, then she should have been at work. It doesn't make sense that she's running around and has another part-time job working from home on the phone, because there's many a times where I was working from home and she was working from home and we were both on the phone with each other. Okay. And she was at home and I was at home and we were both at work. So, and she wasn't at the dungeon. Okay. So I'm not understanding how she's doing these 8-hour days and then she goes live at night and says, you know, she's going to bed. Okay. After her lives. So clearly she's not working at the dungeon at nighttime. Right. So what time of the day is Breaking the Culture actually at the dungeon working full time where she would be an employee? Because like Emmy is saying, it is a requirement of you to work at least 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at the dungeon. You get 2 days off, like any other employee does anywhere else in the US, right? Well, let's go ahead and continue.
I would just play it by ear, like as the week was coming along. I wanted to see which days I wanted off and which days I wanted to work, and it was also blended in with like how much clients, like when they wanted to see me and if there were 2 in one day, things like that.
Okay, all right. So
now I also
so it sounds like to me
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Because her and I actually had a talk too, and I want to get to that. But there was another thing that Breaking the Culture had said, and she mentioned to the sector, mentioned to on Conscious TV show. She said that there was another young woman that she used to also bring in as an independent contractor, okay, or an independent worker. And this person would come in with her to do sessions with this same Brett, okay, with this same client of Breaking the Cultures, okay? So the biggest question would be, how is Brett booking these sessions with Breaking the Culture if Brett is offering her money and she's saying she's going to be present with me at the dungeon with him to do this session? She showed that to all of y'all in that email that she sent me. Okay, so how is that? But yet Breaking the Culture is an employee of the dungeon. Now, keep that in mind as we get to some questions that I had for Emmy when I came on the panel, because I want to go forward. I am going to go over the rest of this video at another time, but I think right now I just kind of want to get to this part because we are almost 3 hours into this video and I got to go. So let's go ahead and get to this part right here. The Derell finally brings us on the panel after she finishes talking, but she answers some questions that I had, and I want you guys to hear them.
Okay. So, Chaos, what's up, man? What's up, T-Pre?
Hey, D. Great questions, D. Great questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask certain things to get clarification and get a different perspective. She's going to be back in a second. So what do you think about things so far, T-Pre, as far as, her talking about things and, presenting herself?
I was very impressed with what she said because it actually coincides with a lot of things that I know already, right? In regards to the industry, in regards to the past. The thing about me, though, and the difference with me is my years into that world was years ago, right? Like kind of before the internet is like it is now. Okay. So there was like specific websites and stuff like that where people kind of talked about these things and stuff. But generally what I knew was word of mouth on who was involved in that kind of stuff. Now, it seems to be a lot more sophisticated.
Right.
And I really like the way that she explained it, because it helped me get a much more of a perspective of whether or not who's professional, you know what I mean, with the matter, and who's
Right.
not. And also the difference in the different houses, right? Because
Right.
I know for a fact that there are different houses.
Right.
And there's different things that happen at different ones. So,
Mhm.
which was something that she talked about, guys. We'll go over that at another time. Probably tomorrow. I might just finish this out. But either way, she did talk about how there are different things that are allowed at the different houses of domination. Okay. But pretty much for around the board, it's an 8-hour day, 5 days a week, and they are taking a percentage from you. Okay. So that's the part I wanted y'all to hear, was the percentage part. But I think she gets into that while me and her are talking. So let's just go ahead and get into this right here. Some of the stuff that was explained to us in the sector for quote unquote what is allowed right at that particular house is probably at a different house than what she's talking about, even though it's in the same area, right?
Right. And that was the reason why I asked her to discuss those things as far as the processing of things, because I wanted to compare and contrast what we were exposed to. And she talked about how things are different, every so Emmy, right now we're talking about how each house of domination, how they operate different.
Yes.
So hi, Emmy. My name is
Hi.
I'm actually a content creator on here, Black Lounge Divine, and I have a young lady who had attempted to introduce me to the House of Domination. One of the houses. Somebody's microphone on there had a lot of feedback, and I know it wasn't mine, because even when I got off the panel, it was still a lot of feedback on there. Okay. In New York. But what she explained and how she explained it was it kind of like opposite of what you're doing. So what you had explained, Muslim, what Emmy did explain, and I'm sorry, I know I had to fast forward a lot of the video because we are 3 hours into this video. I didn't realize I was going to talk about Umar that long. But either way, I kind of had to fast forward through the video a lot. What she explained is that dungeons have different rules. Okay. There are different things that are not so much allowed, but the rules are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more. Okay. Like number one, they don't want to get too relaxed because they don't want to get busted, right? They don't want the cops running up in their shit. So they're not trying to just be too relaxed. What they're more relaxed on is some of the dominatrix work, and safe words and different things like that. Some of that's not practiced as much in some of those dungeons, what she said. There is more prostitution going on in those dungeons as well, and stuff like that. But overall, for the most part, everything is kind of the same as far as the rules are concerned, because the dungeon wants to get their money. Okay, so they are not letting anybody overcut them. Okay, and in any kind of way. So if somebody, and one of the things she said, which I really feel like I need to go back to this part of the conversation, but she ends up bringing this up. One of the things that she says is that well, let's just finish. Let's just listen in, because I'm telling you, no, ultimately they require 8 hours a day. They require 5 days a week for you to work there. And you got to call into them somehow to some, or go to a website of theirs in order to get one of their DOMs or subs to begin with. That way they are getting their overhead price to begin with. She also mentioned that the dungeon that she was working for got a 60% cut of the money, and that she would get 40%. Okay, which is ridiculous. Okay. And she said that at the other dungeons where they do allow some of this prostitution and stuff, they actually take a higher cut than they do, right? So yeah, this is why I said if breaking the culture, okay, is really out here, at the dungeons, like she's saying, and Carrie Ann is giving out money to Photon. Which one of these bitches got pimped worse? Okay, because this is crazy if that's the case. If they taking 60% of her money to do sexual favors for her clients, okay, then that's a little bit strange. Or is breaking the culture the opposite of what she said? An independent worker who does sexual favors for her clients while she rents a space at the dungeon. Which one is it? Because she tried to say, I was an independent contractor and I was the one coming in here doing all this stuff and everything. But she was inviting me to come in there with her. So, and she also said that if you work for the dungeon, you're not allowed to bring anybody into that space. You can't bring people in. Everything has to go through the dungeon themselves. There's nothing, she can't just offer somebody a space. She said the only way you can, you're going to hear her. I'm not going to talk for her. I want y'all to hear her say this. That's the House of Dominatrix that you're talking about. Okay. Now, I'm actually aware of that one too. I know another girl who works there. I'm not going to say her name, or she used to work there. Okay. But I will say that what this other girl had tried to explain to me was completely different than what I know about the houses. Okay. And I didn't know that, I'll say this. I wasn't aware that other houses may possibly allow for prostitution, right? Like, even though they shouldn't per se. And let me give you a little bit of my background before we keep going. I have also done dominatrix back in the day, like 20 years ago. Okay, we're talking like that. So this was before the internet was popping like it is now. A little bit different as far as how you were introduced to clients per se. It was also a lot of word of mouth, that I knew. So very different world, than kind of what this is. More like the independent world that we're talking about, right? Yeah. I know that. I understand that. But it was the way that the House of Dominatrix was explained to me from this young lady that didn't make sense to me, because she was offering what seemed like prostitution, and I wasn't willing to do that, right? I wasn't willing to go into that because that's a different world. That's legalities coming to that. You know what I mean? I don't want to get locked up. I ain't got time for the police. And you like you said, they already kind of mess with you anyway, just from the whole thing. Okay, so I knew I didn't want to get involved in specific things. But she specifically asked me for a kink list. She had sent me a kink list and asked me to fill out this kink list and, take a couple of pictures. Now, I want y'all to see her response to this, okay? Like, I want y'all to see her reaction to that when I said she sent me this kink list. That seemed very strange to her. Why would she, as an employee of the dungeon, send me a kink list? For what? That doesn't make sense. Let's go ahead and keep going. For her alleged client, she didn't say anything about working for 8 hours a day at the place. It was more like 2-hour sessions. Literally 2-hour sessions at a time, and that was it. And so, I was going to be set up with this client of hers at the house for a 2-hour session along with her. And this didn't make sense how it was all panning out. Turns out now that, she was saying a lot of extra stuff that wasn't there. I didn't know anything about the 60-40%. None of that was mentioned at all, which would have definitely made me turn off because I'm used to you know what I mean? I'm used to I'm my own overhead, right? Like you said, I understand that. So I would have never did anything like that. But I'm just glad that you made a lot of things clear, because you definitely did. But if you can explain, maybe I missed it. If you can explain how, because is it like where girls can work at the house, right? and then they bring in their own independent friends to come and work as well and do sessions with them? Or do those friends also have to be vetted by the owners of the house?
If the dominatrix is renting the space, then she can bring in her own friends. But if the dominatrix is working in that space, then she cannot.
Okay, so if she is so in other words, if she works at the house, then she can't bring anybody. But if somebody, like, if she just like is independent with them.
Those sound like pretty loose rules. Did she say what name? What's the house of domination?
She did not, but she told me where.
Where is it?
It's in Tribeca.
It's in Tribeca.
Yeah.
And then she could bring in her friends.
Yeah.
I would say that in general your tone is like there's something shady going on and it makes you uncomfortable.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I knew that already because I've been in the world for years. And there's
you know you're gonna get a response for this, right? You know that,
I don't
right?
care. But listen, there's specific things. Indeed, listen, there's specific things that I know about safety, right? That she mentioned in particular. And I knew that for a fact. There's some things that you vet over a long period of time. You don't just go out and just meet somebody and they offer me a couple dollars and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, that's not how that works. I need to meet you. I need to have a few conversations. I particularly want to have a face-to-face conversation with you in a public place where I have somebody else there with me. I'm also going to do a video, conversation with you even before I meet you. So there's a lot of things that she said that I would do and that I have done. So I am not, the way that this other chick, presented this to me, it sounded like, what do you want to call it? Trafficking.
Ooh.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
Yeah. Yes. When you never follow the money, and that's one thing I had to learn the hard way, unfortunately, was that if there are some red flags going off in your head, if there are some question marks, it's just like that question, where people ask, is this person the one? And then the other person answers, if you have to ask me, then it's not the one. Because
it's kind of like building a relationship, like I said. I Am Human First asked a really good question. Shout out to him. He's not in here, but he asked a question on Derell'S show. He said, are all the sessions recorded in the dungeon? And I want you guys to hear her answer because it was funny that Breaking the Culture tried to say that every session is recorded. There was questions that were asked by people in CTV's chat, over here in this sector and stuff like that. And she made it very clear that everything is recorded in the dungeon and all this stuff, right? Okay, so let's listen to what Emmy says about this. Listen up.
Usually there will be no questions. You will feel 100% comfortable and happy to go to the location where you're going to do the things that you're doing, and you're going to have a great time and make some money in the process.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, I have a question for you. I Am Human First is asking, are all the sessions recorded in the dungeons?
When I was working, no.
Okay. Is that something that the owners have cameras, or is that something the client can request? Like is that part of the process or service, or is that like a safety measure?
For safety measures, one of the owners would be on the opposite room listening to the session.
Okay. So there was no recording on.
No, there was no recording. No.
Well, that's very opposite of what this young lady said, because again, that was something that was very important to me, that I knew that there was safety per se. Okay. So generally speaking, in my own independent world with that, I had somebody with me. Okay. So that was fine. That was enough security for me. The fact that she told me that these sessions are recorded, that there are cameras everywhere and so forth and so on, kind of like they can kind of see everything that's going on in that session, definitely made me feel comfortable with that. But I wasn't comfortable with everything else that she was saying as we kind of went along, right? But yeah, that was one thing that she made clear, that there were cameras. And she didn't say anything about an owner being in the next room. She said they're very close by. There's more like bouncers, that's what she said, that were close by, but they weren't in the next room. Like, she didn't say that.
Is that a house of domination?
Yes.
That's what she claims. Yes.
Yeah, she called it a dungeon. She called it a dungeon.
She calls herself a dom in Tribeca. Yeah. Her name is Mistress Jasmine.
That's not the way that things were run in my time. If we're speaking about the same house of domination, that's not how things are run while I was working there. But honestly, it sounds like private rooms at a gentleman's club.
Ouch.
Exactly. That's exactly what it sounded like to me. And I ain't with the shits. Excuse my language, but yeah, that's not me.
Opportunities out there for you, better opportunities that make you feel more comfortable.
Exactly.
You know, because people are going to want to guilt trip you because we are in the profession we are in, and you want to be able to have a backbone, you know, with your response and say, actually, I enjoy what I do and I make lots of good money doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. I feel safe. You know, as long as you go ahead and follow that gut instinct, never follow the money.
Exactly. Yeah, I learned about following the money. That's what I said last night. I was saying in my video last night about camming, right? That listen, don't do anything that you would not want to do, or anything that you wouldn't want to be seen on the internet, because it very well may get leaked, right? So whatever you're doing on the internet, don't be afraid for it to get leaked, and don't have, you know, you can't be shy about being on camera and being on, having an internet presence, right? So if that's the case, then, you know, if you're online rubbing your tootie and rubbing your titties in front of everybody, that's your fault, right? Because that's something you chose to get involved with, okay? If you're, you know, there's so many other things you can do online as a cam girl. You don't have to be doing any of that. And you should be able to stand on what you do and be comfortable and feel good in your skin about what you do, okay? And that's it. Now, if you're choosing to do all this other stuff for pennies, that is your fault, okay? That's literally your fault, and that's unfortunate that some girls do. But, you know, let me go ahead and let her finish out just a little bit, and then we're going to end the show here. Many, many moons ago. So, I mean, I just happen to not be involved in a lot of it anymore. But yeah, there's some things like I do girl stuff. What I caught from the camera thing, I'm gonna tell you what I caught from this camera thing that she said. When Breaking the Culture was trying to say the cameras were there, right? She was trying to make it seem like, after I was explaining how she was explaining this situation, that when I said that dungeon, that she's trying to make that dungeon look like they're involved in Rico shit, right? Where they're actually bringing in prostitutes to prostitute in their dungeon, right? And she's claiming that I would have been doing this work in this dungeon. I said, hey, you know, this is what you're claiming would happen, okay? So she then wanted to try to make it clear to the sector that no, there's cameras everywhere. We would never do anything like that. None of that stuff is going on. There's cameras everywhere watching everything. When in actuality, what was probably going on, okay, was she probably rents rooms at a private gentleman's club where they do allow for sexual activity, and they probably do got cameras up there recording fucking sessions and recording fucking shit to put porn videos out. That is how bitches get caught up. That is how bitches get trafficked, okay? That is how bitches get up in that porn industry that they don't want to be in, okay? Yes, bitch, I'm not slow. That is why I wasn't with the shits. So that is what I get with the whole camera thing. When she first told me that there was cameras, she was really saying there's cameras. When she's not telling me that these cameras are for the purpose of creating porn. Okay. When in actuality, she was trying to say these cameras were for safety purposes, where the girl who worked at the dungeon is telling you there ain't no goddamn cameras. Okay. Literally, it is a process that the client goes through to be vetted, to be seen. And then when they come in for a very quiet session with their dom or their sub. And one of the owners or somebody is right in the next room, literally listening in. So this is completely different than what Breaking the Culture was trying to say, which again, like I said, Breaking the Culture's way sounds like she's being fucking pimped out here by somebody. Okay. And she's going up in these motherfucking gentlemen's clubs and she's fucking renting out little rooms, or her pimp is renting out rooms, and she's going in there and she's giving out sex sessions to her clientele. And she thought T-Pre was going to go along with that motherfucking shit. That's what it was. But let me go ahead and let this finish up real quick. It's almost over, maybe like another minute, and then we're going to end the show. Stuff like that. But that's really it. I really don't do anything else. Okay. And you see how bright she got with the cam girl, right? Like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's lucrative.
It's very lucrative. Good money.
It's that OnlyFans website sounds like it has something going to it, but you know,
I have never done OnlyFans. I'm not really interested in that.
Okay.
But, I'm not even going to tell you where, because I don't want people to kind of know. But yeah, I got introduced by that same girl. I'll tell you which one she did try to get me to do camming. It was Boylan Models or something like that. Yeah. I would never do that, right?
No.
Thank you. So now I have been vindicated, y'all. Y'all know, because I've been vindicated. I would never do Boylan Models. Okay, no baby. That's not no. So Boylan Models is that one that Breaking the Culture was trying to tell y'all that I cam for, and I was telling y'all that she tried to introduce me to Boylan Models, and I was like, absolutely not, because that's just not my thing. That would have been one of those websites where you got to be like rubbing on your stuff, and this be like the worst of the bottom type people in there, you know, and they not going to pay you to do anything. You know what I mean? They want, well, they're going to have you doing, or they want you to like work for shit, and you basically being ran by them. Like, who is going to do that? Nobody has time for that. That is not actual camming, right? That is just being stupid and just opening up your legs online for somebody to look at you, and you only literally making pennies on the dollar. Okay. Pennies. If you even make anything. Okay. Because in order to like get to a space in some of those places, there are like places like that you can cash out that day. Right. But you got to be like a top model. You got to be like, you know, doing all kinds of stuff. And you also have to give them a lot of your time. Right. I'll be honest with that. So you'll have to work like 80 hours a week. Okay. You putting in work. Okay. You putting in double time during the day. So that's a lot of how, you know, and it could be done. Don't get it twisted. If you're a homebody and, you know, you don't really be out doing anything like that, you can just throw that camera on and turn it on and do whatever you want for 16 hours a day and literally get paid. And there are bitches doing that shit. Okay. And they are just doing various things throughout their house, and their clients love to watch them do various things, and they pay for it, and they pay well. So yeah, that does happen. But you know, you got to be like a top model to be really on channels like that to be making anything, right? Other than that, yeah, they'll ask you, those types of clients, they'll come in there and they'll ask you to like, you know, twerk or do something dumb, and you doing that shit, and they not even paying you. They just want to see something real quick. They hurry up and spat off, and then they leave, right? Like, and they don't even pay you. And then you get the platform is the one that gets the money for them actually being, you know, there. So that kind of stuff is stupid. Okay. That is not real camming. And I've already explained a lot of that last night in the cam video I did. But either way, Breaking the Culture clearly is being pimped out here by somebody if she is working at the dungeons. And we need to figure out which one of these chicks has gotten pimped the most. Let me see if y'all did the poll or not, and what's going on with that. But yeah, we're gonna see which one of these pimp these bitches. And I was gonna add Bugsy to the poll too, you know what I mean? Because Carrie Ann be kind of pimping him a little bit. But we're gonna go ahead and get into whether or not you guys have come down with an actual poll ending here. So bear with me just a moment, guys, while I end the poll. Let me go ahead and play a quick timer for y'all while I do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the show after we get the results of the poll. All right, so bear with me just a moment, guys. Yo, peace to the motherfucking loungers. Shout out to the fucking sector, okay? Because I'm telling y'all, this was an overwhelming results with 74 votes, okay? 74 votes came in. Overwhelmingly, the sector has voted that Scary Ann has been pimped out the most in this situation here, okay? Now, I don't know. I have to disagree with the sector on this. I actually think that Breaking the Culture got pimped out more. I'm not really sure, though. We're going to have to do a little bit more investigation, okay? Because, listen, what I'm hearing from Emmy and what we're going to go over tomorrow in regards to Breaking the Culture and in regards to this dungeon is the breakdown of money, okay? And if Breaking the Culture is in fact working there as an employee, okay? Because if she's working there as an employee, then she is definitely getting pimped out by the dungeon, okay? Now, if she's her own independent dom, okay, and she's actually renting spaces out, then she's not getting pimped out unless somebody is her pimp on top of that, over top of that, and they are the one that's paying for these spaces, you know, and allowing her to go in there and do these sexual favors with these clients, okay? Now, that is the question, because Breaking the Culture ain't got no motherfucking money, okay? Like, what money this bitch got? Okay, now we know that she got somebody who do. I can't say confirm or deny if that person is actually, you know, funding such private rooms, right? But it sounds like, according to what Emmy is saying, that she is doing this independently, okay? And that she already has clients and that she rents these spaces to give her clients sexual favors in these spaces. But she or someone above her has already paid the owners of the dungeon, okay, for her to be able to rent this space for a couple hours a day. All right. So, and she doesn't have to, which, would keep her from having to work there full time, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. She wouldn't have to do that. She could just come in whenever she wants to, as she explained it to me. Also, keep in mind that if she was an actual employee of the dungeon, then she would not be able to bring me in to work with her as an independent contractor. That would have to go through the dungeon, because the dungeon is not getting ready to let nobody overcut them. Also, she would not have had an amount to give me that Brett or her client would have been offering, because Brett would have booked her through the dungeon. Okay. And there would have been no money that she would have been able to tell me ahead of time, because she would have already known what she's going to get paid. And then with her tips, then she could offer me something after the fact, right? How would she know that she would even make that amount? Because Emmy actually talked about a completely different amount for much more stuff. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about that. And we'll talk about that again tomorrow. But yes, with overwhelming results, Scary Ann, you have been pimped out the most by Photon DNA out this bitch, okay? It is unfortunate. It is sad. But yeah, ma'am, you won that one. But hashtag, where's the website? We're still looking for the website from this hoe. We are also still praying for this princess here, okay? And we do take all fake news in, from both of these hoes at any given time, so that we can definitely, get all that stuff in. But also hashtag stand up, Carrie Ann, okay? Since you always talking about everybody else's body and what everybody else looks like, and we'll see from there. Other than that, guys, this is the morning opinion for today. I truly appreciate all of y'all for coming in the building. Make sure that y'all are hitting the like button on the way out. Make sure you also subscribe and share, and make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you always know when a chick is live. Guys, let me go ahead and look into the comments real quick. You said it was Chaos Mike. Yeah, I know. You said safety cameras are probably in every room except where, okay, I talked about that. You said shows. You said, Black Lounge, do you agree? Do I agree with what? Say the question again before I go. Oh, I see. You said, do all dungeons have the same rules and protocols? Can a person work part-time? I think I answered that question. So let me go ahead and wait on your question real quick while you're saying that. You're saying that do I agree with what? All I see is shows. That's all I see is the word shows. So I'm not sure what you're talking about here, Muslim. But yeah, anyway, we are going to get into the rest of that conversation tomorrow, because Emmy definitely said a lot more stuff. I can also go back to the other video that Derell did with her, where she breaks down a lot of other things that she does and that she does, as a dom and as, just a person that's involved. But if you don't have any other questions, I'm just going to go ahead and end the show. I truly appreciate everybody for being in the building. Make sure, again, you hit the like button on the way out, guys. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys. Thank you guys for watching.
Got that visa, now I eat. It's 2000 and something, why you hoes still broke? If you ain't got no money, take your broke ass home. My pocket's getting deep, but the work will never stop. Cause making money's easy, but keeping it is hard. Getting cheese is a habit, I chase it like a rabbit. If I see it, I'ma grab it, that's why I'm never lacking.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that question. So absolutely not. Absolutely not. I actually explained that a little bit earlier in this video, and I made a video about camming last night, okay? No, it is totally different from that. In fact, I just explained that the Boylan Models thing, right, was the one that Breaking the Culture was trying to tell y'all that I cam for. That is one of those types of sites that would end up being something similar to that, right? So they would do something like these guys or girls, whatever they are, they would come in the room and like you have your own breakout rooms in these on these platforms. Okay, you have your own breakout room. They come into your virtual breakout room and they can talk to you and and all this stuff. They can request certain things, but they have to pay to request like a breakout by themselves with you to have like a intimate conversation. They have to pay to anything for you to come on camera sometimes. Like you don't even have to even be on camera. They just want to come in that room. You know what I mean? Like it depends on how you do it, right? So either way, just give you an example of how Boylan models would work. The one of the clients would come in the room and you're already on camera and they're like, hey girl, you sexy and whatever and do whatever. And you get all hyped because they say all that shit. And then they're like, yeah, can you show me a nipple, or something like that. And then you just do it, right? Or they'd be like, can you rub, and they'd be like, they'll try to gas you up and then say, more, can you do more? And the more you do, now they done got all this stuff from you and you're doing all that and they done left and went to the next girl's room. Okay. And now you're sitting there and you done did all this stuff and you didn't get paid for any of that shit. So that is a peep show, right? That is literally what that is. You definitely don't want to do anything like that. And no, that is absolutely not camming at all. And any real cam girl would be offended by that. You said Black Knowledge Divine. Thanks for answering my question, Queen. No problem, Muslim. And I appreciate you and all of your support and everybody else. You guys, I appreciate you guys and have a great. Thank you guys for watching.